5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Push it. Oh, come on.
We're live, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, and we got 7 thumbs up already. And Benny hasn't even said any. Benny hasn't even said anything yet.
Don't even know what we're talking about yet. You
Well,
guys
we're
better
gonna-
wait on that thumbs up.
Man, it's going to be a hard night.
It's about.
Mm-hmm.
Do what, Benny?
Maybe that's what the thumbs up is about.
Yeah?
Okay, guys, we need help. Where's the chat? We need to make sure we need a sound check. And let us know that we sound okay.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Benny, it's your turn.
Testing 1, 2.
1, 2, 5. Testing. I turned myself down. I got a complaint last time that I was so loud. I was so much louder than everybody else.
You were loud last time.
Well,
I just as it's your show.
maybe I should be loud then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares about everybody else?
Have a light shining straight on you, just like this. Hello, everybody. I'm Brett Bond.
I'm surprised we're even on the screen with them.
Well, you know. If it was just me, there'd be only like 2 people in here. That'd be my wife and my nephew.
They all come for Benny. They all come for Benny.
Benny's the Benny. I call him every night. Say, Benny, don't stand us up again. Benny stood us up that time, and we only had like 10 people in here, and those 10 were complaining about why he wasn't here.
Got to call his first wife. His first wife is his scheduling agent.
I absolutely was with my first wife.
Benny, what have you done this week? Tell us a good story.
I have tried to stay out of the hot weather. And since I live down here, I'm like 2.5 blocks away from the entrance to hell. It's not good weather.
Well, if you're by the entrance to hell, we're in hell over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's been warm.
How about you,
But it
Chris?
hasn't been bad. It hasn't been bad. Like in June, down where I'm at, south of, like in Phoenix, basically, it's been this time of year, it's usually unbearable in the morning, but it's been kind of cool in the mornings. And I mean cool, I mean it's not 90 degrees, it's 65 or 70.
Hey, we got to do a little shout out to one of our sponsors. Shout out to W and Buddy's awesome team. He has assembled one of my 300i charging ports. He has assembled. Period. One of my 300i charging ports failed, and DU had me back in the woods in less than 3 days. Thank you, DU Supply. A lot of these lives, mine, Chris's, they go over to W Hunting Supply Podcast. And they sponsor us. So thank you, DU Supply. If you guys need anything hound related,
I
give
mean,
them a call.
if Tim was a good houndsman, he wouldn't need that GPS. He'd just be out in the woods.
He'd just be listening.
Who's
Yeah.
starting the fight now?
I just started off, pick on Tim tonight.
He's probably a snow hunter.
I don't know why we haven't had him on. I need to get him on. He is a snow hunter. He lives up there in Idaho or something.
Oh, my gosh. They're the worst.
And he changed his name. He changed it back to Tim Brink. It was Hounding Around.
Oh, he's incognito.
Yeah, he was undercovering us.
One of those kind. He probably knows
One
Benny
of
real
them.
well. One of those undercover agents. What'd you do this week, Chris?
Agent. Oh, man. Well, I worked last week. And I was going to work Friday, and no one showed up. I had inspections scheduled. And the county was so busy, they said, we can't do it. You have to wait till Monday.
Why don't you explain to all the people out there what it is you do? Because you're just talking like there's no reference, no nothing.
I know. I keep it that way, vague. That's what a private investigator does.
Vague. We want to know the truth. What do you do?
Right now I'm doing, so I get subbed out as a private investigator through my company, but I'm basically like a job site superintendent, but somebody who keeps records better than a normal construction guy probably. So I just sit around and watch Facebook all day and
You
YouTube.
meet inspectors and meet people, and
Yeah,
you make sure
I had 4 inspections.
the subcontractors are lined up, and so you're like a site superintendent, right?
Pretty much, that's what it is. Just I get hired through my company for kind of like construction surveillance. So when you go to court and you have somebody who's keeping records under construction surveillance as a private investigator, it looks a lot better than just some Yahoo who's a superintendent.
Are your records all in a bound notebook?
No, it's all daily reports. I record a lot. I
had a lawyer. I had a lawyer tell me one time that if you keep a daily record, that it needs to be in a bound notebook. If it's in like a spiral notebook,
Yeah.
it's not as good as if it is in
Well,
a bound notebook.
what you do to get out of the whole, because when you're on your Microsoft Word or whatever, Excel, it will show you when it's been modified or tampered with. So after you do your daily reports, what you do is you save it as a PDF. If you save it as a PDF, you can't change a PDF. And if you do, it's going to show when it was changed. But I also I record just about everything. So I got this little thing, my recorder. It sits behind my beard on my shirt, so you can't see it. I put it in my shirt. And then I got this one for backup. So, yeah. But this week, I went home Friday. We did some fishing. My family was down. We went and caught some fish. Then we went home Friday. I was going to go elk hunting. I didn't get out. Saturday I went and got a tattoo of my other dog. So I got another dog now on me. and then Sunday we went on a long bike ride, my motorcycle. Me and the old lady. You'll be able to tell because I got sunburn, got the old farmer tan going.
Well, where did you get the tattoo at?
Oh, right.
No, I don't want to see it. Oh, jeez. Doesn't that hurt like hell right there?
No, not really. So I got 2 dogs, and then the third, I'm putting another one on there.
It doesn't hurt.
These are
you're kind of like my dad always said, where there's no sense, there's no feeling.
Maybe. I don't know. The guy said my skin is like, it takes ink like a permanent marker, so it's easy to tattoo. I think he was saying I'm like fat like a whale, maybe, and it's so I got I got 2 dogs now. I got another one I'm putting on there. My original dog to my line. So how many houndsmen are that dedicated?
Well, how do you decide what dog goes and what dog doesn't? Because I've gone through probably 3,000 dogs, and I don't, even though I'm big and around and I have more bulk than I did, I don't have room for that many dogs.
Well, you have so these.
Benny could have a whole bunch of dogs on him.
Yeah. Just like Cody King says, just one more dog.
Just one
more
dog.
dog.
That's all it's going to take.
Well,
if I had got a tattoo of some of my favorite dogs when I was skinny and running with the dogs, today they would look like dachshunds.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't even like to imagine that.
Yeah, I think everybody has those dogs that stick out, and the next one I'm gonna get.
Oh no, we're never gonna tattoo that dog.
The one that sticks out. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
How did this go to this? All you asked me is what I did. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you came up with that tattoo thing. I've just never. Everybody gets tattoos nowadays. I got a tattoo right there on just one of those, like we used to call them Pachuco tattoos, and it's just my initials because I probably told the story before. Years ago, a friend of ours, he was in the Navy, and he had his ex-wife and a heart on his shoulder or on his arm there, and he got the ink and everything and asked us to block it out, and we blocked it out for him. And me and a buddy of mine, we both put our initials on our hand, and I never would have dreamed it stayed, but that was what, 50, 40 something years ago, and it's still there.
I've got a tattoo right here in my palm. It's a creosote splinter that I got when I was 21 or 22. I was cable TV lineman and I burned a pole in Southern California. I've still got that tattoo.
I have one right here.
Teardrop?
Well, everybody
Oh,
has
that's
always
where the,
asked me where I had a disagreement with a Mexican feller. He took his pencil and just tried to stab me in my face, and he stuck me right here, and the lead stuck in it. And I looked at him, and I was like, kind of like, did you just really do that? And I remember pulling that lead out, and it was pulling. I couldn't get that lead out. I finally pulled out, and then he ran away as fast as he could. They
Might
can run faster than me.
might turn your gain down a little bit,
Is
Chris.
it too loud?
It's got that twang to it still.
How about now?
it's like
Maybe I'm just
steel
too close.
guitar.
How about now? Does it sound better now?
Nobody asked what I was doing this week.
Well, you hadn't given us a chance. I was reading the comments, actually.
I think
Cut
nobody-
Benny some slack. He's got his Sunday go to meeting overhauls.
I know. It looks like he works for the railroad.
And Tim did send me something, but we'll get to that here in a second.
Oh no, he's going to
Well,
get his
Brett,
spare.
what did Brett do this week? What did Brett do? We
Nothing.
all know what you did because you got your videos posted up with your
I did.
$50,000 mule.
Yes, sir. I mean, that mule, somebody, it had a good foundation on it. Somebody rode that mule, and she was nice. But I'm trying to take her to the next level. And I got her riding around.
Oh,
Got her. Oh, jeez. I got her riding around pretty good. I don't know what you look like, but
I'm an
the welder.
railroader.
oh, you can turn that backwards and put your helmet on it. That's right.
Put it right here.
What's that kid's name on the Little Rascals? Porky?
That's right.
This is why I can hear out of this ear because I had it covered all those years around those drilling rigs.
Oh, and I went to Michigan.
That's what you did.
I flew to Michigan, and a friend of mine had been coming down. Did I talk about it last week? I can't remember.
You were on my show when you logged on and you said you was in Michigan.
Yeah, that
So if you guys
Wednesday
didn't
night.
watch my show, too bad. You missed out.
Well, I'll tell you, a good friend of mine passed away. He started coming to see us about 28 years ago, him and his wife. And he was from Michigan, so he was a snowbird. He avoiding the cold weather. And they called us, and my dad, a friend of my dad's called him to ask if they could stay at my place. I had the farm out there by Hatch. And I said, sure. And I remember fussing to tell my wife, well, if they're going to stay here, they're going to have to earn their keep and this and that. And man, they got there, and the next morning they were outside chopping weeds. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me out there, because that guy, he could fix anything. He could do anything. He was as handy a person as I have ever met in my life. He could build anything. At that time I was roping a lot, and I heeled. And he headed for me. He had a head horse, and he would spin steers for me every day, every afternoon. And it was a big joke, is I'd spend all summer breaking things, and then he'd spend all winter fixing them for me. But, and we were just like, if you ever watched The Odd Couple from way back, Felix Unger, and it was me. It was me and him exactly. I mean, he was regimented. He just every morning he got up at a certain time. He drank his coffee. He raked stalls, picked up all the horse poop. He did everything on schedule every day of his life. 3:30 was happy hour. He drank one beer and one beer only. He said, like eating lunch, he reached into the potato chip bag one time and one time only. I mean, everything was just like that. And I'm exactly the opposite.
I met that guy, Brett.
Roger. Yep.
Yeah, he was when you were building your buildings right there, kind of across from the saddle shop over there.
Yep. That was in Caballo. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. I quit roping. He started, and he got the cancer too. When he first came out, he said he wasn't going to live very long because he said he had a heart problem. He had blown out part of his heart or something. He said, I probably won't be around very long. He said, because I don't think I have much time to live. But he had 28 years or 30 years, something like that. And then he got the cancer, and he was real sick with that. But he is tough, man. He kept going till the end. I mean, and the end was just, he went out every morning there at his place in Michigan. He'd go outside, and they had a little fire pit. And he'd go outside and build a fire and drink his coffee out there by the campfire. And they said he just went out there and built the fire, and like that. Goes to show you, every morning you get up, you don't know what's going to happen that day. And when you lay your head down that night, you don't know what's going to happen that night. You might not see another day.
Don Pock, a man I knew the whole family. The first time that I worked cattle and then hunted with, sure enough, good lion dogs was with Don Pock and all his entourage. And Don Pock was 90, maybe 92, 93. And his back hurt, so he couldn't get around and stay. He would go out in the evening, and in the morning he'd feed his horses, and he had a chair there. He'd feed his horses and sit there and watch his horses. And one afternoon he went out and fed his horses and sat down in the chair and died.
That's it. Well, really, that sounds
Your
like
mule owner. Same thing. The guy who owned your mule.
Which mule?
He took his own life, but man, at
oh
least he's
yeah,
not in the hospital,
Yeah, no kidding. They said he'd been sick quite a while, and he just went out there
and then we'll probably give old Chris Powell a couple hits tonight, but he just did that interview with that bear hunter guy, and that guy was helping fight a brush fire, 62 years old, died of a heart attack. I don't remember the name of it. You hear all the time, you hear of people like your age or younger, or, I'm 49, and I hear people 50. What's crazy is you'll hear these people that are runners or they do exercise, 55 and die of a heart attack. To me, I don't try to do too much strenuous work, because if you work an engine too hard, you're going to blow it out. I'm trying to save it.
I've got a plaque in another part of the house that says, "Hard work must have killed somebody."
I'm pretty sure there's a happy medium.
Yeah.
My dad's 90 years old, still drives around, still tells me what to do and everything, and he tells stories about they drive to California when he was 14 years old and load sacks of potatoes, and they would pay him by the sack, and hauling hides from there in Albuquerque, cow hides, where they butchered and everything. He'd haul those green hides up into into a truck or a trailer, semi, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to, of course, back then, they had to work real hard. He tells the story. He told me just the story the other day. It was pretty cool. He said that they were there in California loading up potatoes, and another trucker came in, had to get his truck loaded, and asked my dad if he would, he'd pay him so much a sack to load the truck, and so my dad said sure, and he loaded the truck for him and everything. Then he never could find the guy. The guy never would come back. They had to leave, and they had to load their truck too, and they loaded their truck, and I guess they had some kind of connection there. And he was complaining to the guy who drove. He's saying of course, my dad at 14 drove the truck too. He relieved this guy, and guy said, "Don't worry about it, Packy." My dad's name's Packy. "Don't worry about it, Packy. Let's just go." And my dad said, "No, I want to get paid. I got to get paid. That guy owes me money." And the guy kept saying, "Don't worry about it, Packy. Let's just go. Let's go, Packy." So finally he agreed and said, "All right, let's go." They got in the truck. They were driving down the thing, and driving down. He said, "I told you we need to go." He said, "You know why?" He said, "Why's that?" He said, "Who do you think was counting those sacks?" And my dad said, "Who?" And he said, "It was me." He said, and I've got like 10 extra sacks of potatoes in this truck. He said, we'll stop down here at the restaurants and we'll sell them. We'll get your money for you. But
You know,
yeah,
anyways, the rabbit hole, we was talking about that, you know, and you guys have probably seen it too, but I mean, you can tell we're all just, you know, workout buffs, and probably stay in shape real good, but exactly. But you take these guys that are gym rats, you know, and the guy was like, I squat 700 pounds. Don't worry about me. And we weren't even a quarter way up that hill, and he's lagging behind and breathing hard. So it goes to show you that you can go to the gym every day, but being out in the hills and actually doing the work, running not on a treadmill or using your body weight, carrying your own body weight up a hill, not just an incline stair stepper or whatever. It's a big difference.
not a controlled environment.
I mean, it helps. They have a ladder thing at the police department where you, like, it's a ladder and you use it to go. And it helped me out when I was hiking those hills for sure. But
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you don't hike those hills every day, those guys, well, like that guy who came on last time and came out here lion hunting, lost 50 pounds and, you know, wanted to cry like a baby when he went home, and they got home and said, I'd do it again. And we asked him, what would you do more? You know? And he said, I'd lose another 50 pounds. So, it's a lot better to get out. These people need to get out. You know, the gym's nice, but breathe some fresh air. Go climb a little hill or mountain or take a trail.
I got to talk about my mule now. I got a question. This is the smartest animal I think I've ever been around. I mean, she was broke real well, or not broke. She's not broke real well. She's cowboy broke. I mean, and cowboy broke is, I'm sure they just got on her and rode her. And, but I seen that mule that sold for $50,000, and I can't get that out of my head. And that mule, I watched what that mule did. That mule rode around like a real nice, you know, broke horse, you know, rode around with his head down and, you know, gave it the pole and was real light and easy. And I'm sure that mule, you know, side passed and backed up real easy. And man, and I thought, I'm going to try to train this mule to do it. And she's really starting to come along. I mean, I've only put up 2 videos on her, and those were the videos where I was just, more than anything, I was just trying to get used to her myself. You know, I could have just, and believe me, I wanted to, but I resisted doing it, just throwing a leg over and going to the hills. But I took my time. I messed with her. I lunged her a little bit. And then the 2 videos are the first 2 days. I'm already 7 days into her. And I rode her, man, and she will walk. She's a traveling hussy, I tell you what. Those little ears get to going like that. And she's really wild. And I haven't found anything she's scared of yet. So, yeah. Boy, when you pick up on her like that, and she just tuck her nose and walk backwards. That side passing has been a little touchy, but I got her where she was side pass. I want to see if I can teach her to lay down like they do those mules. I want her to move over. You know how when you're out, I know Benny's done this. You know how you're out hunting and you get off your mule to look at a track or whatever, and you got to get back on. You look for a rock somewhere to stand on to make it easy to get back. Make it easy to get back on. Well, those guys train those mules where they walk over. They walk over to where you're at. You just stand up there and they use a little buggy whip to train them. Just to tap them, teach them how to walk over, and they give them a hand cue. Like, can't see my hand. There it is, like that. And then the mule walks over, side passes over to you. I never was interested in training a mule. I just wanted to have them as a tool just to get me across the hills safely.
You needed a cowboy broke mule. Point A to point B and back to point A.
That's all my mules did. I mean, Jet was probably closer to this mule, but he wasn't he wasn't the athlete she is. She's an athlete. And Agnes was not an athlete, but she was safe. She had some qualities about her that were really pretty cool. You know, one of the things is she's so lazy, you could just climb off of her and drop the reins and leave for an hour and come back, and she wouldn't leave. You know, she'd be within 15, 20 feet, or if there was some grass over there, she'd go over there and eat. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited about this, as you can tell.
Why don't you kick your nephew off bragging over there right now? Just finished running 4 miles while listening to you guys talk about working out.
Which one is
We don't want to
that?
hear that nonsense. Mountain Misfits Outdoors.
Just finished running 4 miles while listening to you guys talk about working out. Well,
Man, I didn't watch.
Good for you. My mule. I trotted probably 5 miles on my mule this morning.
I saw George's video of the bear trying to attack. I hadn't watched that video yet. I started watching it and I got ADHD and got off to something else.
I haven't watched it yet either. I meant to.
I can't even call Brett back. I'm surprised he hasn't threw me under the bus because I've heard about it like 8 times today.
One of my pet peeves is when people don't call me back.
He told me to listen to a 2-hour podcast and call him back. If I told you I'd call you back, I don't do it in about 45 seconds. I probably forgot I even talked to you.
Well, but Chris, you know that Brett's going to call you back every time. Sometimes it takes a week and a half.
No.
Hey, I can say when he back in last year when he was not feeling so well, he'd forget to call some. I think he forgot to he knew us.
Hell, I forgot how to use a telephone then.
He kept trying to do the rotary on his phone.
No, I probably forgot to call a lot of people. Forgot to do a lot of things back then. And I still have trouble with names. I was in the airport in El Paso fixing to fly off, and some guy come up to me, "Hey, Brett, what are you doing?" I just looked at him and smiled and said, "Now then, man, it's been a long time." I didn't know who it was.
He's thinking, Ali, we've never met. I just recognize you.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be rude. I really didn't know who it was. But the face was familiar. But I think I knew him from roping is what. So that's.
I can remember faces, names I'm not so good with.
Yeah.
So, Chris, have you ever had a bear get after you?
Yeah, but I was trying to stab it with my Bowie knife because it was killing a dog. And it didn't get me because it died on its way. Like, I thought she had my dog, my son's dog, curled up and had, all biting. He had his head in her mouth. And I went up to stab it because it was archery season. And my luck, game warden heard me shoot it, and then I'd be in trouble. I don't even know if you're allowed to stab it, but it was killing my dog. So I ran up to stab it, and it turned around and like started chasing me. And of course I turned around and everybody, you know the theory, the slowest, you don't have to be the fastest, just not the slowest. Yeah, they were all faster than me. And I took off hoping someone would shoot this bear, and it just kind of hunched over and died within I think it was about 10, 15 feet. So
me and JR had that, or I had that bear. I got excited. This has been years and years ago. We caught that bear on the ground or in an oak thicket. And that's where that quarter Airedale I had, HB, that's where she got bear broke. She didn't want nothing to do with bears anymore. And they were fighting that bear in that thicket, and I was on that mule Jet, and I got excited. And I ran in there on Jet, and HB went with me, and that bear swatted her. And I mean, she rolled by me like a rubber ball, opened up her side, a perfect L slice on her side. And then that bear, like that, towards me. And me and old Jet, we took off. And he was popping, he's popping his jaws. And I didn't have to ask Jet to run then. Boy, he turned around and he did a nice rollback, and we got out of there. And
it's crazy how surgically precise them claws will cut something.
Yeah, it was perfect.
When you're playing with their claws, it's not like it's razor sharp, but when they cut a dog or anything, it's like they took a razor blade and cut those dogs.
I don't know if you guys see me looking. I don't know where to look. My camera's right there, but on my screen, Chris is over here. So I'm looking at Chris, and Benny's right above my camera. So I'm always going like that.
Yeah, it's all right.
Is it all right?
It's all right. What else? Brett, watching you with Bonnie, a person can tell Mule loves you.
She does.
That mule's gonna love you for sure because I was that the old man's mule.
They said that
So
was his
she's kind of
favorite mule.
transferring over. Yeah, so he probably paid attention. Now it's just you and her,
I'm
not
not
a
that
bunch
old.
of people coming around petting her.
Yeah, the mule sees this as a lateral transfer.
Yeah.
Well, I took 2 days just, you know, I did have a problem this morning. It'll be out on one of my videos. I went out there to catch her, and I got that stupid mule, Ruth. And Ruth is, I don't think she's all there. She's crazy. And she sees me come in, and, you know, you get in the pen, and Ruth it's like there's a grizzly bear in the pen with them. And so Ruth gets scared, and she goes running off. Well, then the other mules say, something's in here. And they take off running, and
they'll start doing what those other mules will do.
yeah. So
I've had that happen.
The first couple times that happened, I got her separated from the other mules, and I got her caught. And once I get up to her and get a hand on her, she's usually pretty good. Well, this time, she like 2 times I got up close to her and she spun and ran away. I said, no problem. I went over there and got my rope, went in there, and when she ran by me, I roped her around the neck, pulled her, and she kind of panicked at first, and then I pulled her a couple times, 2 or 3 times, and when she took a little step forward, I gave her some slack, did it again, and she walked right up to me. But the trick is, I had a friend of mine that had like some young horses he was training, breaking and training, and he would rope them. You know, it's like they were like in a remuda, they were in a pen, and he'd go out there and he'd rope them. And he had one of these little geldings that when he went out there with the rope, that little gelding would run up to him, and he'd hold the loop up like that, and that horse would stick his head in the loop. I mean, but the trick is you can't miss 5 times. You can't whack them on the back of the head 5 times missing, and expect them to, because you're just making them get away from you faster. You know, that's like getting bucked off. You get on a young mule that's going to buck, and he throws you. Well, the next time he's probably going to buck a little bit harder.
You think if you had her in her own little corral, she'd not do that?
I walked right up to her today and put a fly mask on her and sprayed her with fly spray.
Do you think she just got spooked?
Yeah, because of that other stupid mule running by her.
Yeah.
And Ruth, once you got her caught, she's okay. I mean, you just got to get her caught. I mean, I tried to ride her, and that wasn't no fun. But
I hope to make the rendezvous. Can we talk about who's on the guest list? Who does it matter? It's me, Brett, and Benny. Clump or Warner. Who are those guys?
we were trying to get Joe Rogan, but he said he was busy.
Yeah. Yep.
No,
Right.
to my none of those guys will be there.
No.
I don't know who all's going to be there. It might just be us 3 looking at each
Might
other.
just be us 3.
Cal said he'll be there, didn't he?
Oh, Calvin Redhouse. Yeah, he should be there.
Calvin's been saying he's going to come to the hound trials for like 3 or 4 years now, too.
Ooh.
And he hasn't made it.
He's got
I'm going to just bust him out right there, Calvin.
He's got a reputation of
He's way up there.
not showing, huh?
Yeah, he's way up there.
Oh, shoot.
Though.
Hold on.
Oh.
You know, when you
Emergency
get
pee-pee?
old, I hear that sometimes those things hit you all of a sudden.
Yeah, emergency pee-pee. And now he can just walk out the front door and make a pee-pee.
But as far as
Oh, he had to get his coffee.
I built me a cup of coffee a little while ago, and I never went and got it.
Warner Glenn doesn't hardly go anywhere or do anything. I don't know when he turns 88, but he's 87 right now. And Warner just doesn't hardly go do anything. You know, I think he goes to Terrell Shelley's because they've been lifelong friends. And he goes to Earn Your Spurs. So everybody just go to Earn Your Spurs next April. Warner will be there, and he'll be the star of the show.
And we'll be there
Uh,
too. And we'll be like,
Yeah.
he'll be there. The Clumps. John and his wife Kim said they weren't going to be there, and they showed up, and they were there for 2 days, 3 days. What? How many days, Brett?
I don't know, but
They were there both days.
we've got John. We got a heck of a good interview with John on our live right here that we did over there. And then I'm gonna publish the sit down interview that me and you and John did, Benny. I need to publish that. It's run on W Hunting Supply.
Yeah, that's run there a month and a half ago.
Yeah, but I'm gonna publish it on the YouTube channel, so they don't only listen to us, they can look at us.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
always better.
Who doesn't want to look at us? I mean, I'm sure we're on hundreds of screen saves or
Oh yeah.
backgrounds.
Yeah, just like when screensavers first came out, we're the flying toilets.
Okay, now that everybody's in here, they need to. We already talked about W Hunting Supply, our sponsor. Also, Full Cry Magazine. They don't pay us a dime, but they're an honorary sponsor because I like what Jason's doing. I mean, he's giving it a whirl. He took over Full Cry, and they're doing a good job. They also publish some stuff on YouTube and the podcast through Full Cry. Really cool stuff.
Listen, I think you need to give thanks where thanks and congratulations is due, and that would probably be Danny Doobie.
Oh yeah, that's what everybody says, that she does all the work. But I don't know her, so I have to say Jason.
I have her on my Facebook.
I'm friends with her on
Other-
Facebook now. But I don't do,
Other
you know
little
me,
crappy kids.
I don't do fake book very much.
I've been doing a lot more since I started that AWDA thing I did, Arizona Working Dog Alliance. Been meeting a lot of people. The Sheep Foundation, I talked to that guy. The Arizona Trapping Association, talked to them.
We need people like you, Chris. I mean, we do. I'm terrible at, I want to say shit like that, but I won't say shit like that. I am terrible
We
at
can
stuff
say
like
whatever
that.
we want.
I'm terrible at stuff like that. And Benny's worse than I am.
I don't like doing it, but
Right. It just depends
And
on how
then-
things strike. I responded to a post on Facebook, and this person on Facebook, I really liked the gal, and but it was about these feral horses, and somebody had dropped off a horse by the feral horses, and it's not they're not feral horses in the public's eye, they're wild horses, and so I got on there and spewed a little bit, and then oh my gosh, I came under fire, and so yesterday morning or before, at 3 o'clock when I didn't have anything to do but be peaceful and drink my coffee, I thought I better clear this a little bit. So yeah, make sure
they
that
couldn't
I'm
see
not
his
just
spear. You can't see your spear on the keyboard.
well, no, but you could taste my venom just in the way it came across. I'm
All
I'm
caps.
sick and tired.
All caps.
Yeah, I just worship the damn horses, and if it weren't for all of the reservations, not the tribal people not caring about their horses, and that's not even the part that bothers me. On that rodeo Chetasky fire over there in Arizona, I was there right after it started. I was part of a dozer crew, and then I came back after the fact and worked for some people going back in the burn. We were the only one, me and another guy were the only ones in there working on low water crossings, and there were two little bands of horses off of that White Mountain, and I thought, boy, it'd be cool to catch some of those horses. And then I thought, we ought to just shoot those damn horses, and I did nothing. And today there's only 8 or 10,000 horses up there running through everybody's yard, running amok. And the same Forest Service that is using BS reports about overgrazing and everything else to get rid of all the cattle, they're worshiping the horses too. You go down there, Chris, you see them on your way to work down there on the Salt River there by that casino, all of those
Oh,
horses down there. Yeah, and that's the riparian area. I mean, that's where nothing's supposed to be in there eating any of that pristine vegetation and shitting in the water. But all those wild horses, everybody, oh, look at the wild horses. Oh my gosh, look at that. And they're all allowed. So, you know,
well, I
I,
see him. I see him in Alpine, Arizona. I see him in Sholo, Arizona. I see him on the outskirts of Sholo by the Torion Country Club. My cousin knows a guy who's taken a lot of those horses out, and he's taken out just a drop in the bucket, 1,000 horses. They're still. I've seen them down in Maricopa, south of Arizona. I've seen them at the Salt River there. You know, the Wild Horse Foundation or whatever, protect them there. the The reservation was going to open a season on horses, the Navajos, and they came under fire from PETA or whoever, and they cowered down as a sovereign nation. Their own government cowered down to these baby whiners about the horses. And we're only a drop in the bucket. Look at Nevada. Holy
Yeah.
moly. Ridiculous. And there's no reason that, and I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous because these people don't have to feed them. You know, they just want to see them. They want to take some pictures of them. You know, they don't want nothing else. They don't care about nothing else. The conservation, the damage they do, period.
right there in your neck of the woods at Forest Lakes, Arizona,
Oh,
there's a woman that has trail cameras out everywhere, and she's protecting those horses. She knows which stallion bred which mare, which baby belongs to who, and she has every one of them named. And if you go anywhere around there, she shows up. She wants to know what you're doing, and don't pester the horses. And you can go to Ruidoso, New Mexico. The horses are in town. Nobody's allowed to do anything with them, and they're annihilating people's yards and crapping on their lawns. I mean, Diana and I saw a herd of there was probably 18 horses in this bunch, and they had spent the night in a guy's front yard. And right after daylight, he's out there with a wheelbarrow and a rake and a pitchfork and cleaning up so that his lawn can grow. I mean, how stupid is that?
oh, just as stupid as most of your antis who go off feelings, and that's all it's about is the feelings. It's the same with feral cats.
And they're the worst.
You guys seen that guy in Australia, the cat killer guy? There's a little old
No.
guy. Says he's never ate them. Yeah, just look him up. He
And
has
he holds them like
cat-
that.
oh, he has cat hats, cat mittens, cat, and he just kills. I think. Don't quote me on it. Australia has a horrible feral cat problem. I think it's Australia. You know, but America or United States ain't no better. And those cats, holy moly, you know, they've eradicated species. Same thing. And what if you go into, I think it's ARS 132910 A or B, whatever it is, it's being inhumane to animals. It's animal
What did you
cruelty.
say? ARSB 29210? What?
I think it's ARS 13.
How in the hell do you
29.
know that?
I told you how I knew that. Remember I told you I had a call and I was being a Benny
Oh.
and I thought, yeah, someone was trying to hang me. Anyway, so I explained to this guy who, I don't know, maybe he's undercover game and fish trying to get me. Cause I said on one of our lives, mine or yours, about catching a cat, and my dog does good on these cats because even if you look at all my posts, you'll see Stinker have cats treat. I have a video on my phone right now. Behind my trailer here, I hear her barking. I go back there and there's a big cat in the tree. But with that ARS 13 law, 13, you can't be inhumane to an animal, cruelty, whatever. But it's kind of a gray area.
How do you
because,
define it? Yeah.
well, if I catch a cat, let's just say I'm one of them horrible houndsmen that train my dogs with cats. If you catch a cat in a cage and you let your dogs bay it, is that cruelty? It's not hurting the cat, but stress. You know, the lions, they stress out a lion, they stress out a bear, you know. Yeah. to me, when you're driving down the road and a deer has to beat your car across the road, that's pretty much
You're
stressful
stressing
too.
you.
So
I used to have a big old cat that it was like a pet. I'd put it in a cage and take it out there and hang it in a mesquite tree and let the young dogs go find it and tree it. Take the dogs, put them up, and let the cat loose. She did it a jillion times. Didn't it? She just sit up there and purr when she seen me. It never bothered her.
yeah, I have a house cat, and I let my puppies in. I think I have a short or one of my TikToks where my blue dog is sitting on the bed, baying at the cat that's sitting on the headboard. But so you got it in a cage. It's not hurting it. You let it go. They chase it. It goes up a tree. Is that cruel? No. Now, if you knock that cat out of the tree and the dogs tear it apart, I could see where that's animal cruelty, right? It's alive. They're tearing it apart, whatever, just like stretching anything.
You ever seen
But if you shoot,
is it cruel when a cat gets a mouse and does that to it, all bats it and everything, and swats it around? Yep. Is that cruel?
So if you knock it out of the tree, if your dogs kill it while it's alive, that's probably cruelty in my book. That's pretty cruel. But what if you shoot that cat out of the tree and then the dogs chew on it? Like, is that cruelty? You're putting it out of his misery. It's a feral cat. Now that we have 105 people in here listening to me talk about killing cats,
listen,
I'm sure we'll get some emails.
Tim Brink. Okay, guys, I have to watch the rest of the show later. My brother is in town. Okay, Tim, thanks for stopping by.
What, your brother can't watch the show with us?
We gave you a hard time, so
now you're leaving us. I
know.
Okay,
it's
but
Tim Brink.
What about when the cat's being cruel? I lived over there around Tolleson, and I used to take my dogs down there on the river, down by PIR and down by Phoenix International Raceway just to exercise them. And, I had 14 dogs. I'd just take them and turn them loose and just goof around. And one day they treat a big old black feral cat up in a mesquite. And I got up underneath there trying to get my dogs, and that damn cat jumped on me. And when I put my arm up like this,
I'd like to have seen that.
Right there. That son of a gun jumped on me and bit me right through there. And when I flung my arm down and I'm trying to get that cat off, now I got 14 dogs pulling on that cat that's still attached to my arm. So how is there any retaliation there? I mean, where was PETA there looking after me?
Did you? Go ahead,
Well,
Chris.
they're also saying if you catch a cat, you can't go out and dump it. It's a feral damn cat. If you're trying to get cats, what I do is I catch them, I take them up north with me. And I have mice and pack rats like crazy, and I turn them loose in my barn. Half the time the coyotes will get them. I do have, I think, an orange and a gray that stuck around, but they're feral cats. That cat, I went to get it out of the cage with gloves. That son of a mother effer bit through my glove, then grabbed and bit I got a scar on my knee where she bit my knee, and I'm just trying to hold it to put it in another cage to take it up there. They're mean.
Oh, I watched a big old tomcat almost blind a pit bulldog. Pit bulldog ran in there and grabbed it, and they just whack, 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 whack right on its eyes. I mean, they're tough now.
Oh, yep. At my scrapyard, I had a pit bull that ran around at night. And one day I was there, and she's just running around. I heard a big fight under one of my storages. I walk over there, and it's a little gray cat just tearing her up. I mean, she would lay on her back, and that pit bull would come at her, and it would bite her tongue and grab her face and bite her tongue. And that dog would shake and couldn't get that cat off.
Did y'all see that that Facebook post I made?
Which one?
That's about the funniest thing I ever seen. With the two cats fighting and the bird biting the one cat on the butt, and then the dog coming and breaking it all up.
No, I
You'll
didn't
see that? Let me see if I can share this screen here. This is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. I don't know how. Let me see if I can.
Somebody said on there about the horses there at Heber too. I was just
they
southeast of Heber, where those horses first originated. Two little bands of horses.
I don't see no cats and dogs.
Hold on. I'm working on it.
Go ahead, Benny.
Well, that's where those horses up there originated. Right there outside of Heber. And that's where I thought I should just shoot those horses right now, but I didn't, and now they're everywhere.
Well,
Can't
Torion
do
Golf Club, they get them horses in all the time. All the time, all over the greens. And as far as using horse crap, you gotta, it's kind of hot. And if you just horse, oh, talk about all three species.
Watch this. Watch that bird.
Like, what was that bird? What was that bird trying to do?
Watch him. But
I think the bird started the fight. That's crazy. Anyways, using horse crap, it's kind of hot, so you're supposed to burn it out, like cover it with black plastic for a year. Because if you let them horses shit in your garden, everything in the world that's in that horse crap will grow in your garden. When we was running like little trips out of Torion, the golf club, horse rides, the forestry made us use non-weed hay. Non-weed certified hay.
Certified, yeah, hay that's
Weed free.
certified weed free, yeah.
And the only difference was it had an orange and blue string on it. We saved a lot of those. For tying stuff around the barn.
You guys always need some hay string, don't they?
Oh, I have 20 of them tied on my trailer just in case I need a belt.
I gotta say, you should share a picture of your trailer, Chris. That is a unique outfit.
I would, but my son's on my phone watching us right behind the green screen right now. I don't think I have one on my.
You got everything in the world in that trailer, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I got 100 gallons of water. So usually if I'm not using it for my horse trailer, so I got to find I can put all of my camping stuff in the front and put my 2 mules in the back if I'm doing it that way. So, but what I usually do is I put my mules in. Like when I went down to South Arizona, I put my mules in, loaded all my stuff in the back, shut the back door, loaded stuff in the back, because my mules will go out the front door. I just take them out the front door.
You escape
They'll go
door?
in too. Yeah. So I can load them in the front door or unload them in the front door. So when I get there, I unload my mules, then unload my trailer. And then when we leave, I just put my mules in. And
Hey guys,
with that 100 gallons of water.
have you ever been to Holly Moore's YouTube channel? Her dad is a lion hunter, hunted with Henry McIntyre. They got a bunch of videos of lion hunts.
Her dad was Jim.
Jim Moore, yeah, hunted with Henry quite a bit.
Yeah, I talked to Jim several times.
Cool. Yeah, she's got a bunch of his
BJ
videos.
Moore? Was there a BJ Moore or?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably was, but we didn't know him.
They're down there in the Davis Mountains, Texas.
Yeah. Some of those South Texas lion hunters, West Texas lion hunters.
West Texas. Hey, Calvin, I see you're on there. Are you gonna make it to the run? Some people want to know if there's any famous people going up.
Chris says
Calvin, I ratted him out.
Chris says even though you say you'll go, that you just won't show up.
Just like the hound trials. He tells me every year, I got to get down to the hound trials.
So you got to prove him wrong. What's that, Benny?
This is different. This isn't the hound trials. This is the first annual Houndsman Rendezvous in Young, Arizona.
I have a lot of people coming out of different states. We even have Louisiana hunting guy Jeremy.
Jason, Jason Doobie's gonna come.
He's really trying to go. I said I'll send someone down Phoenix pick you up. We'll get somebody to go pick you up at the airport.
There's a man that I talk to often. He's probably watching this tonight, Mr. Jarman. him and I, we probably talk at least once every couple weeks. Really, we met through YouTube and everything. I wish there's some way we could figure out how to get him there. He would really like to come, but he's in, where's he at? I can't remember where he's at. He's down south somewhere. Tennessee, somewhere like that.
No,
It's on August weather.
in August, it would be good for desert rats to bring a light coat. See, Chris has asked what's your typical Arizona August weather like? Hot? No.
Yeah.
In August, at young Arizona.
Not in young.
Elevation? Young
5,000?
How much?
5,000 feet? 4,000 or 5,000 feet?
6,000,
No.
7,000.
I'll bet
Is
it's
it that
at
high?
7,000. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it's 7. Because Forest Lakes is at 7 or 8, right?
You mean, Benny, you're not going to be wearing your Speedos?
Well, I'll have my
The
Speedo in my pocket.
The fur ones. He wears the fur ones in the winter.
Oh, my.
You do need to buy your meal ticket, guys. You got to go on
Yeah.
Pick and Shovel Outfitters.com. PICAND. How do you spell shovel? Outfitters.com.
In Spanish, it's PALA.
PALA.
I don't know if that's a bilingual website or.
That's Mr. Jarman. I'm going to answer the phone right now. Hello, Mr. Jarman.
We was talking about you.
We were just talking about
That's
you.
why
Are
you
you there?
call it.
Reynolds Creek is
Oh,
about
I'm in
5,200.
this
I
room.
told you it's
can't-
5,000
can't
feet.
talk. That way you can't hear
I
me
knew
'cause of
Ryan.
this room I'm in.
I knew Ryan Bailey would come up with it.
Okay, I guess because Young is you drop down off of the to go down into Young.
But
I got to
Oh,
go
my
outside and talk to him
goodness.
because this new office, because it's in a Connex. My phone, I can't talk on the phone. Let's see what he says. I'll be right back.
now we can say whatever we want about him. So, 5,000 feet in August. The nights are going to be pretty crisp.
Yeah, the nights will be good, and it'll probably get.
And it's the end of August.
prob-
It's almost
80 and-
September.
Yeah, that's true. So you can count on 80 degrees on the hot side.
Listen, I think you guys, for nighttime, you guys should probably bring a hoodie, some of you.
I'm gonna bring a hoodie just so I can be incognito.
I think you're echoing because his microphone, his headphones, the microphone's picking up his headphones because he laid his thing down, his headphones down. I don't hear an echo. Can you hear me echoing?
A little bit, not too bad.
No, damn it, Brett. Hey, did you listen to Chris Powell's Raw Dog, this last one?
I did
They're
not.
talking about, it's actually a pretty good one, even though it's Chris Powell, our nemesis on the podcast world. Him and Ed Barnes. I like Ed Barnes too. So I talked about Colin. You know, we've talked about Colin 100 times, but it was a pretty good one. Talked about Colin, and then they talked about they were talking about some game warden stuff over there in Oklahoma, how the game wardens don't need a warrant. And Chris jumped all over that, saying it don't matter who you are, you need a warrant to enter a house, no matter, because the Fourth Amendment, blah blah blah. So,
There's a
Chris
lot
gets
of
to
that
sit
stuff,
out.
and it's just it's a matter of bullying. You know, when
It is.
when the regular public doesn't know the ins and outs of the laws and they're trying to get along, they let some of that stuff take place.
Well, you know what? Chris Powell, actually being a game warden, he kind of admitted both things as if he can get someone to give him consent, he's going to take advantage of it. Period.
He had to correct me. He's
Yeah.
from Alabama.
Oh, where'd you say he's from?
I think I said Tennessee.
Ooh, I'm fighting words.
I know.
Oh yeah, that's the same as calling a Cajun a coon ass or a coon ass a Cajun. You just
Yeah.
don't do that, Brett.
Well, we do that.
It's one of those southern states. That's about all I know about it. I also got a message from the FAR saying that they have 4 registrations so far for the
Only 4?
for the rendezvous.
I hadn't even signed up. I need to sign up too. I'm stupid.
Oh, I need to too. I haven't signed up.
I know. Anyways, we was talking about Chris Powell's Raw Dog podcast about cold. It was a pretty decent one.
I enjoyed it. I like Ed. I like
Barnes.
Chris too. But he's a game warden.
Yeah, he's still a game warden undercover, right, Brett? He's
But-
still undercover game warden.
But that's
He
no,
said-
that I like Ed. I could listen to him talk. I mean, you got to be patient because it just doesn't flow out real fast. Besides, he likes Ben Lilly, so it's got to be good. He's got to be a good guy. He even looks like Ben Lilly.
Oh yeah. We're supposed to do a whole podcast just about Ben Lilly. He says he could too. He could talk forever. But that guy.
I started to send him all the newspaper clippings I got on Ben Lilly. I got a whole file on I got a subscription to newspapers.com. And because I like to look up, I'll find a name or somebody, like Ben Lilly or whoever, and I'll look them up when they wrote newspaper articles about them. Got them all the way back to I don't know, way back in time, 1890 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Ed Barnes, if you guys need to listen to the Houndsman podcast, Raw Dog one with Ed Barnes, because that guy was backwoods, Oklahoma hillbilly right there. No power, no water, and I think he enjoyed it more than having power and water now. He actually talks about witching water, and everybody don't believe that, but I
do.
Like my lines. I witch my lines. I taught my son how to do it.
We used to locate water pipelines that way when we were digging, and we couldn't get anybody out to spot for us. We would witch them up, and sometimes we were right.
So there you go, Chris Powell, Mr. Undercover Guy. We plugged you. We shamelessly plugged your show.
Oh, I know. We'll give them a plug, and they won't even say a word about us.
Well, he does. He said that Brett Vaughn thinks I'm an undercover game warden. He brought my name up a couple of shows ago.
Once a game warden, always a game warden.
Exactly. He did good this time because he said he actually. You know how any law enforcement, it don't matter if it's law enforcement or welders and plumbers. A welder's going to protect the welder. A plumber's going to protect the plumber.
They're going to protect their tribe.
Exactly. So they were talking about Ed Barnes says in Oklahoma, a game warden can just enter your house without a warrant. And Chris kind of jumped all over him like, that's absolutely cannot be true. But Chris also admitted, which this is what you do is if you can get consent, you do what you can to get consent to search the house, and he did kind of also admit that if you don't give consent, it's easier just to be truthful. And they all tell you the same thing. Listen, just tell me if you have weed in your car or a dead deer in your fridge, whatever. Because if you lie to me and we find out, we're going to make it even worse on you.
Yeah, I heard that. I thought that was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I really did.
Well, but that's how you do it when you're trying to catch a bad guy. That's
I still think it's shitty.
Well, it is shitty, but that's how you do it. Like when we were chasing people trying to catch them that were running on warrants, that's how you tell them. You say, either tell me where he is or you're going to be held accessory, and you put a little pressure on them. You want to get in the house because to me, I say, well, then go get your warrant. And then I'm going to cook every bit of that and feed it to my dogs.
Time you get that warrant, it won't be here.
And you know what's great about that podcast?
I shouldn't say anything like that.
But well, you know what's great about that podcast is Ed Barnes said, what did he say? He said, shoot, I forgot where I was going with that. He said something and he distracted me, Brett. Son of a gun. It was my favorite part and I forgot it already. What were you going to say? You distracted me. Damn it. I'm not even 50 yet.
Yeah, you're too young to be having those problems.
Hey, I've been sending my wife all these posts about ADHD because it tells you all the symptoms where you walk off and she'll literally call me or text me say, you went out to the shop to get meat to cook for dinner, and I'm out there like welding something or.
Hey, let me give you some. Let me help you. Will you take some advice?
Oh, yeah, I will. I remember what I was going to say, though. Go ahead.
Oh, you say it now before you forget it again.
He told you how to beat the system. Ed Barnes said, if you're going to keep your meat, keep it in your house. Because if it's out in the barn, it's a gray area because the Fourth Amendment says the house, basically, in a nutshell.
Your domicile or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
ADD. Or something that'll help.
ADHD, yeah.
Do you take creatine?
No.
Take creatine.
Is that what you put?
Huh?
Is that what you put in your coffee?
I put creatine. I drink mushroom coffee. I put creatine in my coffee, and I also put MCT coconut MCT oil.
Yeah, I've heard that coconut. I take beetroot and all that. See, this is our rabbit hole right here. How we went from illegal game warding and search and seizure to coffee.
No, but I'm serious about the MC. That's the best thing I ever did. And I want to go out on a limb here. This is a little foo-foo stuff. But I tell you what, I probably shouldn't even. Anyway.
Just do it.
I mean,
statute of limitations.
No, my ankle hurt and my hips hurt really, really bad. I rode that mule, and I just let her go. And we went a long ways, and she's got she really moves. And I don't even like to admit it, but man, I was real sore. I got up in the middle of the night, have to go take a leak, and I almost fell down when I got out of the bed because my ankle gave way on me. And I was watching some stupid video this morning about grounding. Have you ever heard about grounding?
Yes, I believe in it. I absolutely believe in it.
I do too now because I thought, man, I got to do something. I can't hardly walk. I went outside barefooted and spent about 5 minutes outside barefooted.
Oh, it feels so good too.
The pain went away. I am not kidding you one little bit. The pain went away. So we're gonna have a bunch of houndsmen outside walking around barefoot tomorrow.
Oh, even when I'm in camp, I take my boots off and bury my feet in the dirt, and he does. They make beds now that you can ground into your house. But me,
I like the dirt.
That kind of what happens when lightning hits somewhere, ground you out.
Jeremiah asked about freeze branding. I've never freeze branded anything.
I have,
but a lot of guys I know used to freeze brand their ears, and people that steal dogs chop their ears off. So I've seen people just freeze brand the whole side of their dog.
If you got a dark dog,
ribs.
Yeah,
I do the ribs.
Oh, and speaking of Holly, I do too now. It works. I'm because my daughter told me about it, and I thought, oh yeah, another one of those things they come up with, but it really worked. Anyway, now we're back on dogs. I think I got a litter of pups on the ground right now, and I got there's 7 of them out there. I think I got 3 or 4 of them spoken for. But I think I'm going to spay my other females. I'm done raising puppies. I think I'm not. I'm gonna hunt what I got, and then if I run short on dogs, I've given enough dogs away that I think the guys that I've given dogs with that have the same line I do, I think they'll probably give me a puppy or give me another dog if I want one. Because I just I don't feel like raising pups anymore. You know.
That
So-
guy I had on last Wednesday said he'll just go buy a puppy and then
Yeah.
instead of raising. But I like raising my pups, man.
I did
like
too
raising.
for years. I raised a lot of pups, and let me tell you what. And I don't drop names or anything like that, but there's a lot of really, really good lion hunters catch a lot of lions that run, the same line of dogs I do, and but I just don't.
Turn your fancy iPhone on Wi-Fi, calling Brent.
Yeah, Ryan. It told me I tried to do that, and it told me I had to contact Verizon for it.
I don't
You
know.
do
Mine. So sometimes it jumps in and out because I don't have service at my job and I have Starlink. So if I walk outside, it tries to pick up service. Plus, I'm next to Luke Air Force Base, so they probably got blockers all over.
Well, mine absolutely said you have to contact Verizon. So I figured if I have to contact Verizon, it's just going to cost me more money.
Oh, it's just in the settings. You go in the settings.
No, I did. I went
Yeah.
to settings and I turned it on to accept Wi-Fi calling, and it said I have to contact Verizon to start that. I know that I didn't like that.
You need to send some anthrax in because I didn't have to do that. I just turned it on and it worked.
It didn't with mine.
No, I'm saying.
Nope.
So if that's the case, send Verizon a
Some
little
anthrax.
thank you note. Anthrax.
Benny, you're just a mean person.
Here we go. Here we go. Homeland Security will be all over our podcast now.
Well, I don't have
yeah.
any anthrax. You'll have to find your own.
Game wardens around here have a whole seminar shower. All the big deer people have poached. To me, that's kind of shitty that they put people on blast like that. I don't know. In Arizona, when you get busted, they announce it and they put you on. You can watch them get punished. I mean, I'm on a couple of Facebook group, pages about the road out here. We have a real bad highway. And all these people get on there, and the motorcycle cop was sitting on the sidewalk radaring. That's bullshit. Come on. You wouldn't mind him using the sidewalk to get to your house if you was a 911 call. Well, they're just taxing everybody, and I'm like, if you don't want to get a ticket, don't speed. Period.
Exactly.
And I'm an anti-cop guy when I get pulled over too. But I'm not. I also know that you can't defund the police, and it's like the game wardens. The game wardens, same way, putting people on blast. It's kind of a shame thing, and I mean, honestly, don't be a poacher. Don't get caught. Don't get caught.
Well, just don't do it.
You can be a poacher, just don't get caught. And if you get caught, and man, we keep bringing Chris Prowl up, but he had said, don't be a crybaby when you're in handcuffs. But it kind of goes both ways. If you're a game and fish or you're an officer, if they can't get you for it and they can't write you that ticket, don't be a baby about it and try to write me a ticket because I don't have enough tread on my tires or I have a cracked windshield because you didn't find drugs in my car.
Let me tell you what, the good guys, they don't ever catch.
Oh, you're not going to catch a real poacher.
No. Not unless they're, there's a ring and they're profiting.
2 years.
Yeah. And they infiltrate the ring. That's what they're trying to do with us, Benny.
Benny's the lead undercover guy trying to accuse everybody else. You know who it is. We know who it is. He's probably at the main office right now.
I'm in the main office.
His wife is really the lieutenant.
And I have surveillance right there.
There's proof. Yep. What else did we got? Let's talk about something real interesting.
Benny?
Benny gets all serious. Look at him. He gets all serious.
I saw a guy up in the mountains one time riding along with his stick out with his GoPro going, and next thing I know, he's doing cartwheels and showing off going down a hill.
Every I'm never going to live that down. That my story is that horse threw a fit. He was turning inside out and upside down, started bucking with me and threw me. That's what happened.
He ran 30 yards with his foot in a stirrup before he fell off.
I said that until the next day I seen that little girl is like 4 years old riding that horse, running the barrels or something.
The same horse.
Same horse.
Yeah, with just a lead rope and no saddle, bareback and a lead rope.
Yeah,
the problem
that horse didn't like me.
Brett was using her saddle out there riding.
Oh, you know which girl that was, Chris? That was that same 4-year-old girl that got sent out after dark to go get those goats.
All my kids hate that girl because I bring her up every time they do something stupid. And they're big sissies.
Her name is Olivia Clump.
Olivia Clump. She's the one that got mad at me because I missed for her.
Gave you the dirty stare.
She turned that goat, and I come around the corner and, whoa, fell down, and she just looked at me.
Hang on. Wayne got a story. Game warden came and took my mountain lion when I was 16 years old, and I had nothing but threats. Well, for a young boy who hunted. Why did he take the bobcat or the mountain lion?
Is a touchy subject for me, Chris. The game warden came and took my... Here, let me put it up here. The game warden came and took my mountain lion when I was 16, 17 years old and had nothing but threats and ill will for a young boy who hunted for that cat for years. You were in California, weren't you?
Ooh, yeah. It's all right, Holly. We jump all over the place, and we will probably come back to that.
What happened with Holly?
Not that I'm an expert, but in the 20-plus years of Dad hunting, he only had 3 mama dogs. They were never hunted and totally unrelated to Nugget, who was the dad to 75% of our pups. You know, a lot of people say that the drive comes mainly from the mom. I've heard that on a couple podcasts. I just listened to a pod. I don't know whose it was. We could just do a whole we should just do a whole Monday Night Live on talking shit about everybody's podcast. Tell them if we
I don't know who's all podcasts do you listen to? Let's hear your
Oh, my son has a list. I listen to mainly W, and then I actually Chris Powell has a Houndsman XP, whatever that is, the network now, right? And he has that Falconry.
Extreme Performance.
Yes, he has the Falconry. It doesn't get a lot of views, like on YouTube and stuff. I'd listen to that, and that's a very interesting.
That
you
guy
listened to it.
Yeah, I did. I woke up in the middle of the night about a week ago, and I couldn't go back to sleep, so I turned on a podcast, and that came on. And that guy's really interesting to listen to. He really is.
We'll take our check now. We'll take our check now, Chris, for the unlimited advertising we've been doing tonight.
Throw us a bone.
Is great. It's a really good podcast. That guy talks about falcon hunting. And it's interesting. It's full of information. It's just cool stuff.
Have you ever seen how they catch those birds?
My grandbaby's dad used to run a falcon. So, but have you ever looked into the falconry to run falconry? Like you have to be 2 years as an intern, like a grunt. But it's easier to get into probably a motorcycle club than it is to
maybe they should do that. Maybe they should do that with Houndsman.
They should do that with Houndsman.
You got to serve an apprenticeship under a. But how many people would be willing to tutor someone like that? Look at Benny. He's already crying about it.
Yeah.
Guys,
maybe he's getting teared up.
I tried to help 6 or 8 people that said they wanted a lion hunt. And out of everybody that I ever tried to help, the only one that paid attention and listened, made a good hand, and that was Wesley Smith over at Logan, New Mexico. Everybody else within a couple of years thought they already knew more than I would ever know and went off and went rogue, and I just walked away and gave them the bird. They came back for help later on, and I told them they lost their chance. So, but I looked into the falconry deal when I was about 30 years old. I wanted to get into falconry and all of that stuff. I didn't know anybody in falconry, and so I didn't have any idea in this part of the country where do you find somebody with a falcon. I thought it would be kind of cool. Part of the deal is you've got to trap your own wild falcon and
Yeah.
train it.
They put that ball of wire with some meat in it, and they come down and get it tangled up in that wire.
But I really would have enjoyed falconry. I raised two kestrels that I found in a tree, and
What's a kestrel?
They're a tiny little one, aren't they?
yeah, sparrowhawk.
Sparrowhawk. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a kestrel falcon, and I raised two of those, but I didn't know what I was doing or how to go anything about it. I certainly didn't have a permit. So once they got up where they could go out on their own, I turned them loose. But I've always enjoyed wildlife and working aspects of different animals too, and the falconry deal has always intrigued me. When I was in the hospital with COVID, there was a doctor in there that was traveling, and he asked where he could run his falcons, and I said out by me, and I told him where I was and all, but he never showed up, and I told him, I said, the only thing is you got to come back. If I live through this, you got to come back when I'm not in the hospital and take me hunting too. And maybe he said, hell no, I'm not taking that guy hunting. So he didn't show up.
It's interesting. I know Elizabeth always talks about wanting to go to Mongolia and watch them eagle hunters. You ever seen those eagle hunters? Crazy.
Yeah,
I'd love to go.
That'd be cool.
those things take wolves.
Oh yeah, crazy.
Those talons or whatever they have, they say they are strong.
Well, you listen to that falconry podcast, the girl, I guess there's a whole language to it. Reading your bird, what they do, if they like you or not. It's like, we were just kind of we've talked about knowing your dog and, different dogs that work for different people. It's the same with birds. Like she was like 12 years old, and I guess the bird tried to kick her in the face. Like, it's just weird stuff. If they don't like you, they don't like you.
It's kind of like kind of like my ex-wife.
Well, you should have put a hood on her head, maybe.
Yeah. I tried.
Well, she didn't like you.
No, that was after she didn't like me.
That's labor-intensive work. You have to be dedicated to be a falcon. To get into that. And I would love. I'm gonna look around for a falcon person to get on here. I bet you he could talk for hours. That guy that does that podcast, great stories, great information.
Get him on here. You think Chris will let him?
I'll try to get.
You think Chris will let him stray from the extreme performance?
He better. We gave him enough plugs tonight. Thinking game warden.
He'd probably say,
Fish
no,
cop.
you're under contract with us. You can't talk anywhere else.
Yeah. So, it's always fun to have a little competition. I feel like if Chris would get on board, we could have a little fun, like, what is Tupac and
I don't know. I don't know
big
anything.
rapper.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
We're just kind of rogue YouTubers is really what we are. We just happen to get lucky where we could share our podcast or share this as a podcast with W. But for the most part, we just started out as just, except for what I'd done in the past, I always liked to, do the interviews and talk to the old lion hunters and all that stuff. But as far as this went, this came about as just an accident. Think about it.
That's kind of a good segue of going into talk about Bruce Kennedy, because he was kind of, who did anything else before him? Like, you had Full Cry. Full Cry is probably the OG of
yes
social media.
of the media, of the
all
hound media and everything. I got some magazines
Tailgater.
here. Let me see if I can find this. Well,
And it's just we're lucky that we can do the podcast now and we don't have to print it. And
Look
we
at
can
these.
put whoever we want on here, like Mrs. Moore. Dang light.
Can you read it?
What?
Hound
No.
and Hunter.
The Hound and Hunter. Some pretty cool stuff in these old.
There used to be a magazine in Arizona that was out for several years. I wish I could find some of those old magazines. They were good. It was called Arizona Hunter, and I think it was Arizona Hunter and Angler. And they ran a lot of stories like Karen LeCount back in the day. Karen LeCount always wrote lion hunting stories for that magazine, and I just loved getting a copy of it, but I didn't see any sense in keeping them back then. You know, I was
See,
just a kid.
this is the cool stuff, and this is like what they have in Full Cry. And these stories like this is, here's a story by Mike Houndsman, and it's just a story. He said back a few years ago, before we got trail hounds on our own, we would hunt friends of our own occasion. He goes into this long story. Man, that's good stuff.
Everybody likes stories.
Yeah, you got to
True
tell.
or not?
You got to tell.
That goes back to our rendezvous where it kind of got all crazy. Me and Brett just wanted to start something where we just met out in the middle of nowhere and had a fire and, you know,
Well, it got out.
tell stories.
It kind of got out of hand for me. It got a little too organized.
If there was more than 3 people, it was out of hand for Brett.
And got a little too organized, started getting a little too big. So I said, Chris, this is right up your alley.
Listen, I'll show up. Just
I
tell
said,
me when.
I'm going to go and I'll help advertise it and I'll do everything. But man, I'm no good at that organizing stuff. I'm just not. It's not
Neither am
me.
I. That's why when they said we'll do this, I'm like, that's cool. If they want to do that,
I was like,
you know,
Casey, and what's his wife's name? Diane?
Diane, is it fair?
Fair. Yeah. So, and they took it over. Let me see if I can find that.
But we got to get more people to sign up. I know it's a few months out, but we're going to quit taking signups August 15th, I think was her date. So that gives them a couple weeks to buy.
Go to Pick and Shovel Outfitters.
Oh, let's go back. That guy, what was that guy asking about freeze branding? What did he ask? What do you want to know?
He just asked if anybody did it, right?
There, do you guys do
Yeah.
freeze branding with a dry ice and gas method? I use the denatured alcohol. And on the ear, my dad does the ears. I put it on the side of their ribs.
I've never freeze branded anything. I've never had dogs worth stealing.
Yeah. Neither have I.
I had stolen, and all it did was make me want to kill people.
I actually have my freeze brand hanging in my. But I got a freeze brand in my donkey too. So.
My mule came with a freeze brand on her shoulder, and I had a
Mine's
guy.
the left.
I had a guy send me. I need to look it up on the YouTube video and tell me where that brand came from. Who raised that mule? I need to contact him and find out. I'd like to find out what kind of mother she had.
Is it so? I know Arizona. Is it a national brand book? Is the brand book for the United States or is it just for Arizona?
A
You know,
registered
Ken?
brand. I think they're just states.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
every
could probably
state
look
has
it up there. Yeah, because my brand's registered.
Well, they said this mule came out of Idaho. So
Oh, there you go, Timmy Brink. And most of them's PDF. You can get on their site, the Department of Agriculture, whatever.
what are you talking about?
I don't know. Is it state? It might be. Probably
It's
is.
state.
It's all
Because it's
state,
Department
and
of Agriculture.
Yeah, the Department of Agriculture for that state.
Yep.
Do you-
And then
do
I
you-
did my brand. I registered it during COVID, and it was freaking horrible. Like everybody was at home, no one was doing nothing. They were backlogged. I sent an email. I called down. They're like, "We don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "Dude, I got email from July 21st and 2nd. This is now November." So she had to look it up. It was horrible. Good old COVID. The AFA is strong here. AFA. What is the AFA?
What is
American
it?
Falconers Falconing Association.
Oh, that's what we were talking about.
Sometimes those comments are kind of lagging. I think, like Holly's comment kind of got behind.
Well, if you're watching on YouTube from where we are right now, it lags back about 15 or 30 seconds.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Probably in case you say something, there's like a. Like
probably good for us.
Or
what it is people do the lies and try to whack themselves or commit a crime.
Oh, yeah.
Here. There's mine. It's the New Mexico Livestock Board.
Yeah, I got one.
Look at you.
Mine is
Arizona don't get it.
Mine is V/Lazy B.
Mine's Rising W.
Rising
has
W.
A little W. It's a W, and it looks like in the center has a little circle around the point of the W, like a little mountain.
So is it just a two item brand? Two?
No, it's one. It's all one brand.
No, I mean, but it's got two. It's got like two characters.
Yeah. I guess it would.
Because you can't hardly get a 2-character brand in New Mexico anymore.
No. Oh, Arizona has. You ever seen a Navajo brand? It's a piece of rebar and they draw it. Hot rebar and they draw it on their horses.
Well, yeah, it's just like running a hot iron.
Except it's a piece of rebar and they draw it.
Well, I know, but I mean, that's what they used to have. They made all kinds of brands with just running a hot iron. You didn't have to have it stamped. Right, Ben?
Dad always said that Mexican eagles did a number on the fawn crop, but lions got the blame.
Oh, wow.
Y'all talk faster than I can type. You probably type like we do then. I don't know if I can get my brand out without destroying everything.
Actually, the golden eagle, Mexican eagles are two different birds. The Mexican eagle's not quite as big as a golden eagle, and they're a lot darker, almost a dark copper color.
See?
Oh, so it's a stamp. Yeah, that's a 2. That's just a
character.
Yeah, that's 2 character. That'd be like a
W.
How would you say that, Benny? I mean, he wants to say rising W, but I don't know. What's that half circle?
I call it the rising W. It'd be half circle, probably. In the definition, it'd probably be W with a half circle.
But there's a way you read them.
Yeah. Bigger than a half, though, but I know that wouldn't work on a firebrand. You'd get it all blotched. And
it would blotch,
one big old...
It's too tight.
Oh, yeah, this is just for freeze branding. Yeah. I'm going to brand myself with it. That way all them dumb idiots who say it's bad for the dogs. I've seen a guy do it.
That's the tattoo you should get right there.
Well, I was going to actually freeze brand my skin.
Get it right on your forehead.
Yes, so that your
right here on my neck.
Well, put it on your jaw and your beard will show white right there and your brand will show up.
There you go. Right on my chin.
That way your dogs will recognize you.
Got that from Texas. Texas, whatever it's called.
I've always wanted to freeze. I joke about that with the dogs. I always wanted to, but I just never got around to doing it.
It's not that bad. It's the dogs, and I don't really hurt. Like, I think that's more you have to hold them down, and they're like, what are you doing? So it's like 30 seconds on the ear, maybe 45 on the ribs, if I remember right. And you just go, and the ear will be like a credit card when you're done. It's hard. Then it thaws out. And better if you shave them. Some say you don't have to. I always do. But I gotta do a bunch of branding. I gotta brand my Mustang. My Mustang had the brand on the neck, but it didn't come out very good. There's only like 3, 4 white hairs now left. I got to start riding my Mustang though. Good horse.
Yep.
One of them.
I
Get
thought
started.
I didn't know how you could brand a car because my wife had a Mustang and I miss it.
That's called vinyl. Yep.
There you go, Benny.
What else?
Y'all talking
Hey,
birds. I don't know diddly squat about birds.
It's so cool to watch. You know, the coolest thing to watch is the Mongolians on their little tiny horses. So when I feel bad about my little horses because I got Navajo res horses. And I've actually been talking to a guy. He just posted, he had a mare, 14 years old, 14.2, bred to his big donkey. And I think it's the one Cleaved Wire just bred one of his mares to over there in Chino Valley. But I said, is that mare still available? And he says, no, it's pending. He goes, but I got a couple res horses. And I said, are those Navajo res horses? He said, yeah. And I said, man, I might be interested in those. Res horse. Them res horses got big bones. If you can get a Navajo or any res horse to trust you, you have a friend for life.
That's true, Chris. But the Navajo horses, in my opinion, through and through, the Navajo horses will make better hands. They're not mean. They all have a gentle eye. Calvin
That's a fact.
kind of. But that's what John.
Y'all's problem is you just never rode any good horses.
Well, we didn't need
I don't
to.
know.
We just had res horses. Listen, they don't colic. I don't care what they eat. They don't colic. They'll eat ragweed. They'll eat. You know, I have a 25-year-old. We call her Mama Horse. And every foal we got out of it, I bred her to my son's Persian Mustang. And every foal we got out of her, we had minimal problems. I mean, you could put a saddle on and just start riding them. I'm like serious about that. We would bring him. I'd let him go for 2 years out in the range, bring him in, throw him on the ground, cut him, and we would start training him the next day.
Get on them and
Because
start.
they're not going to. And I called my boys. They were gone for 4 hours. This was like the third or fourth day and never been ridden. And I said, where are you guys at? And they told me where they were. And I'm like, they were literally like 4 or 5 miles away. And I'm like, you guys are on an unbroke horse, like, and it's getting dark. And they're like, you haven't thrown us yet. So I like the Navajo horse.
You were talking about the Mongolians. Have you ever read much about Genghis Khan?
How he populated 75% of our population?
No, about
hero.
about the Mongolians, Genghis Khan, and the horse. I mean, you know, the Romans had those big, heavy horses that couldn't turn around, couldn't do anything. The Mongolian, they showed up in those little quick, little, you've seen their horses. And they defeated the Romans. They conquered the world. And the horse was everything to Genghis Khan. I mean, they drank the mare's milk. They bled them and drank the blood. They ate them. They traveled on. They did everything. The horse was everything to them. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I got a book up there somewhere I read. I read that.
All that stuff. It's very interesting.
There's a guy named Tim Cope that rode across the steppes where Genghis Khan traveled. It's a really cool book. It took him 4 years or something to get across. He rode he had to trade horses at borders because some borders you couldn't bring the horses across. But it's really interesting. I love stuff like that.
We're having a golden eagle, Mexican eagle conversation right now.
Oh man, I don't know nothing about birds. I can't even contribute.
Hey, one's golden and one's golden. That's all I know. They look brown to me. But those Mongolians. That's neat stuff watching them Mongolians hunt with those eagles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where else? What else? Keep it going, guys.
Hey, I want Calvin to find a couple of Navajo horses for me. He can bring them to Young and I'll square up.
What are you going to do with a couple Navajo horses, Benny?
Gonna
They're
ride
short,
on
I
them,
can
one
get-
leg on each one.
Roman style. Roman style.
Yes, standing up.
that paint mare, Brett, that I rode, that's a Navajo.
Really? She's tough.
Yeah.
No, I like them
All of
Navajo horses.
all of John's mares were Navajo mares, and then he put a different. He bought a stud and put the stud, and that's where the foundation for all of those horses came from, the Navajo reservation.
I'll bet you 10-1 that bay horse that boy was riding is not out of a Navajo mare.
Oh no! You can tell the difference in attitude.
That horse, that's a nice horse he rode. I mean, an athlete, not just a rock cruncher.
Res horses are low maintenance and built like a rock. Calvin. Calvin also, I own mules, so I don't have horses. All them free horses out there. He has donkeys.
What are the Hopis doing? All I know about eagles is the Hopi are picking the eaglets from the nest for ceremonies, and they can get away with it.
Yes, they can.
I don't know, but back when I was living on the Navajo reservation at Mini Farms, I asked those boys I was working with. They lived at Chin Lee, and there was a Hopi guy that was on the crew, and they found out that he was Hopi, and so the guy that owned the company ran him off and said, "We don't have room for Hopis and Zunis and everything else. We need more Navajos to fill the contract." And when that Hopi guy was gone, the Navajo guys said, "Good, we're glad. Those guys are just cliff shitters." I said, "Well, I guess, yeah."
Oh, goodness. Cliff shitters. I haven't heard that one yet.
We need to get George on here sometime too, to talk about Lambert again.
You know, I text him. I said, "Hey, are you still alive?" And he says, "Yes, I'm getting a video ready." I think he's just been taking care of that kid, and he has a lot. I think he actually had to work to make money to support that kid. You know, not just hunt all day.
Oh, he had to go get a real job.
I don't know if he got a real job. He just had to work more. But he did get a video out. They're the only tribe that is allowed to do that.
Calvin
Are they
said,
killing those? Are they killing those? Or what are they doing with those little baby eagles? Raising them? Pee break. Brett got to take pee break. They're the only.
Yeah, Calvin, what's the purpose for those guys?
Maybe we should get old Calvin on and talk about some of that Navajo and Hopi stuff. What do you think, Brett? What do you think, Brett?
Think about what?
Get Calvin on and talk about the eagles and Navajo horses.
Is he sure.
Can you jump on, Calvin? Can you jump on, Calvin? We hadn't seen your ugly mug, and we hadn't been called ugly by Navajo for a long time.
Let me see if I have him.
Just send it to him. He'll get on. Won't you? Calvin ran right now. He's not answering because he ran to brush his hair. Faulkner released their damn birds on the rabbit. My dogs are running. I told them they can't do that and to go somewhere else. Ooh.
She's
Falconers.
I know a little bit of Navajo, and Calvin, you can respond with "oh."
I'm gonna have to do it on Facebook, I guess. Calvin, send me a text message.
Phone number?
I can't find it on my computer. My phone don't work in here. I get texts though.
My son's on my phone, watching us. Not sure what they do with them in the ceremonies. We don't care. We want you on we want you to tell us live, Calvin.
Calvin, we want to look at your beautiful face.
Send Brett a text or me. I don't know if he has. I think he has my number.
Yeah, send it. You can send him the link, can't you? Why don't you just
at
forward?
work.
Oh, he's at work.
Is he at work? 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 Is he at work I'm at work right now. So hide in a closet.
He's trying to get enough.
Oh.
There you go.
I know.
Oh, well.
Well, there goes our conversation with Calvin. You failed us once again, Calvin. Failed us.
He can tell us those stories over the campfire in August.
Yep. Oh boy, you better be there. Again, I guess we could. And if anybody wants to join the Arizona Working Dog Alliance, send me an email.
What does it take to join that, Chris? What do we have to do?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm talking to everybody. I don't know how to run an organization, and all these people in Arizona are kind of like pussies.
Cool.
They don't want to do nothing. They want. I've talked to people, and they act like I have leprosy when it comes to any kind of association, because no one wants to run it. You know, because it's going to take time out of their busy lives. But so is people taking our hounds away. You're not going to get to run them anyways.
Guess who's calling me right now, Benny? Shit the bed.
Shit the should you put them on speakerphone?
No, I can't talk in here because I can't get it on Wi-Fi.
Oh. Res Hounds, I'll buy my ticket right now. He's buying his ticket. You don't show,
So
we're going to eat that big steak of yours.
So, Holly, what is the Mongol Derby?
It's where they race, isn't it?
That's where the natives jump them horses and they like do some crazy. You ever seen those? They run down the hills with their horses. They have
They cut their front foot, they'll trip them up, and then they get on them and just tear out across the country.
I think so. Something
Yeah.
like that. It's wild.
crazy. Dude, we got to get some people. I'm going to put that on my list. I got to put that on my list. I got my phone back.
Your list for what?
Because I forget stuff. A list of trying to get guests on this show.
Who are you going to try to get?
Somebody who runs those derbies.
Oh, Chris, see, he's after it. I wouldn't have never thought of that.
You know what, Brett? I'll bet John's trying to get online right now. That's what he's calling you about. He wants to stand up tell some stories or whoppers or something, you know.
John.
Shit the bed.
Shit the bed. I know. Does he watch our live?
I don't know what he does.
I was just looking.
Oh, I can't do anything right here. I got to get that fixed. I got to call Verizon and get that fixed.
I tried to get him to go. I went to Broadus, Montana to get a pup from Craig O'Gorman. I was going to try to get some coyote dogs going, decoy dogs. And so on the way back through Wyoming, I met Tessa Fowler on the side of the road at KC. Some of those dogs that I gave her, she had some pups, and I wanted 2 pups out of that one cross. And I told John, I said, hey, I'm going to go over there to Wyoming. I said, I'm going to go see Tessa Fowler. You and her always hamming it up on big game hounds, and come go with me. And, you know, he was too scared. He said, absolutely not. I'm not going near that crazy redhead. He wouldn't go with me.
Well, let me tell you a story about her.
Oh, I already know.
You know, I had a soft spot in my heart. I thought, well, here's this young, pretty girl that's a houndsman trying to get some more dogs started. And I had bought the new Garmin trackers and everything. And I had the old Tritronics shocker, and she was looking for one. And I loaned it to her. And then she sold it. I hate to say that, but I think that's what happened.
No, that's what happened. I know.
So
I know. You advertised it for sale.
Well, what are you going to do?
I didn't do nothing. I haven't said this is the first time I even brought it up. I could have made a big old Facebook voice, but I'm not like that.
Maybe she'll apologize publicly to Brett Vaughn. Redhead to redhead.
I don't care. It's too late.
Maybe it went to some poor houndsman that's getting started. And
Well,
isn't
she sold it. Well, she should have just gave it to him.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
happened. I had a mule here, probably a $5,000 mule. A buddy of mine gave me. He said, "Here, I want you to have this mule."
I don't.
And I said, "No, Juan." Calvin just texted me. I said, "No, you can't just give me that mule." And he said, "Yeah, I want to give it to you." So I had a bunch of cash in a coffee can, and so I just gave him. I gave him what I had. It was about $1,000 or something like that, cash. And he said, "You don't have to do that." I said, "No, I ain't doing it for you because I know you don't need the money." I said, "I'm doing it to make me feel better." So then I had that mule here, and I didn't really like that mule. And another guy came by, and he wanted that mule. He said, "I'll take that mule." He said, "How much do you want for him?" So that would be like me giving $1,000 for that mule and then taking that mule and selling it for $5,000. And I said, "Just give me $1,000 back." So he gave me $1,000 back, and he took that mule.
I'll tell you a story.
Because we were friends.
Son,
I mean, we were all friends.
yeah. Well, it's always friends until you're not. Look at res hounds talking smack, ginger to ginger.
Somebody's going to tell her. She's going to be mad at me.
My
She'll
son,
come down here and beat me up or something.
I told you I had that, and that Navajo horse I got, she's a gray mare. Kind of looks like, probably has a little appy in her or some roan, or she's ugly as sin. Big donkey head. She could almost pass for a mule. She's so ugly. So big head. It's a res horse. Like, she's a true res horse. Big head, little body, but big bone. Anybody can ride her. My kids ride the hell out of her. We bred her to that Persian Mustang. They threw a Palomino color looking horse. Looked like a Palomino. Black Persian Mustang. Beautiful Persian Mustang. And then that dirty ass donkey res horse. That's the one we pulled him in, cut him, rode off 10 miles. Beautiful. He gave it to a friend for their daughter. Gave it to him because he was going to college. He said, "Here, you can have it for your daughter." She turned around and sold that horse. I had it up for sale. My son called her and said, "What are you doing? Like, I gave you that horse for your daughter." She said, "Yeah, well, you gave it to me. Sold it." Just like, man. Just BS right there.
Yeah. It happens.
I'd rather shoot that horse in the head and feed it to my dogs than let her do that. If I know she was going to sell it out, I kept it myself, you know? So, United Houndsmen of Colorado is having their Houndsman Days in Twin Lakes, Colorado this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a fun weekend running drags and water races. It's the hound trials. Oh, Tim Brink sent me something. It's the NHTDA.org, National Hound and Tree Dog Association. I've never heard of it. That's what he wanted me to mention. The country's only nationally based organization that is focused on preserving the rights to free cast hounds and other tree dogs. Now, that being said, and I don't have enough on my plate, I came up with an idea for a national. I told Brett about it, but for a national thing, I have the name picked out and everything.
You should do it.
It's kind of copying Jesus, the Society of the United States, and I'm gonna do everything to mimic them, but it's gonna be
pro hunting and all that.
Yes, man, it's the same thing, but it's not just dogs. It's gonna be like a conservation alliance.
There's so many of those. I mean, it seems like
there is, but there's not a centralized. There is. You got the Sportsman's Alliance.
Yeah.
But you're also using the name Sportsman. You know, anything with Sportsman's Trophy hunting, you got to be careful. Houndsman. That's why I put the Working Dog Alliance. Like, I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm not fast about it. I already told my CPA what do I need to do. He's trying to get me to go C4 instead of C3 for tax exempt so you can lobby. So, Anybody wants to chip in. I don't know how to do membership. I don't know how to do bylaws. I've downloaded a bunch of bylaws from everybody.
Who are you going to get to help you with this then that knows all that stuff?
Well, Jared Fisher, he's been on my podcast. He's been kind of helping me out a little bit. He's interested in it. I've had people, I'm just trying to get it all set up. I got Dan Gates. Man, I don't like bugging that guy. I don't like bugging him. That guy's busy. And I text him like, hey, man, if you're not busy, like, well, just call me whenever. I'm like, God, I just hate, he's so busy. He's the guy running the Colorado stuff. But he's cool. He answers, he's like, hey, just call me whenever you want. And I'm like, man, just tell me when to call you so I'm not bugging you. So I need to, he said he'd give me some tips on stuff. So I had Naomi on, and she's secretary to the Sportsman's Alliance or something. Don't quote me on it. But it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff to do, and I do have a life, and I got a bunch of kids, and
you do have a bunch of kids.
I do. I only got 9. Someone told me I needed 10 today.
You need 10?
Yeah, but I told them I can't have it. Now I'm just doing qualifying runs. That old vasectomy took me out of the race. There's Tim Brink. You missed it, Tim. I threw out your NHTDA. Why is it fun to pick on Tim? I don't know why it's fun to pick on Tim.
Do I know Tim?
Tim Brink. I don't know. He's been around forever. He's over there trying to help. I talked to what's his name the other day. Nick. He was trying to help Nick with his dog box, giving him pointers. I did talk to Nick, so he's busy. He was out hunting. That's how busy he was. Says he's not into the YouTube. He only started it for his book. He's writing a second book.
Nick?
So, yeah. Oh, Nicholas.
So what did Robert De Niro do that I guess I don't know what's going on?
Oh,
he's an idiot.
You just okay, let's get it. Let's just dive into politics about dumb shits. For one, he stands outside. Attitude up here in Utah. Ugh. You don't want my attitude. I'm polite here. Anyways, he goes to the courthouse in New York, tries to tell everybody how he's a badass gangster, whatever he plays on a movie. He's reading from a script. And I get it. You have a voice. You don't like Trump, but at least sound intelligent and speak from your heart. You're a actor is what you are. An actor. You're an actor. You probably couldn't win a fight if you tried. You know what? Oh, he got hammered. He got hammered. And he sounded like an idiot. He came down there and said Trump was going to become president and never get out of there, like he was going to dictatorship it. I mean,
can y'all see that?
Just go to YouTube, type in De Niro. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, you can see it. It came up on the screen?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, look it up. I mean,
he had the 2 guys behind him are the state police guys that were there, and people were calling them traitors. They set off alarms, car alarms when he's talking. They're all F Joe Biden. I mean, and he just sounded like an idiot. Now, if you're intelligent, you get people like Charlie Kirk, who goes to those, and he's smart. The guy has no lick of education besides what he knows, and he goes to those colleges and those. It's disgusting to watch these college kids. My cousin has a daughter that went to school, grew up in hunting, fishing, is now a Biden supporter. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. College. Charlie Kirk says college is a joke. It's a scam. And it is a scam. There's only out of 60% people don't even get a job what they go to college for?
You don't use your degree. I think all college is for is to prove that you can stick to something. I mean, which is, I don't know if that's worth anything.
The writing mule. I just told my son, who's 12, that Benny is the Lorax, and he said, yeah, he looked like one and laughed. God damn, Wayne. Boy, IV.
Holly,
People are.
I've said I've said for years that it doesn't take very much money to find out what somebody's made of. It could be $100 or $100 million. When it comes
Yeah.
to money, you'll find what they're made of.
Oh, and you know what's crazy is him doing that little stunt. It just gave Trump all kinds of publicity.
What do you guys think is going to happen? I mean, they found Trump guilty on 34 counts, but
Nothing's going to happen.
What do you think will happen election?
I think nothing. He's more popular now. He's raised more money.
It doesn't. What happens if they try to throw him in jail?
That's not in part of being a president. There's only 3 things about being a president, and felony's not one of them.
You haven't listened where they say that they're going to try to throw him in jail? I know he's going to appeal it, but they won't let it. They won't even see it until after the election.
He
Okay,
won't go
Brett,
to jail.
I haven't studied it to see where it is, but there's a place in the U.S. Constitution that if the president is incarcerated, the moment that he's elected president, and by default, he will be acquitted of all charges and be free, because the people of the United States have made their choice, and it's a deal that's in the Constitution. I was watching Newsmax the other morning, and they started bringing that up, and I didn't jot anything down, but supposedly part of the U.S. Constitution is if he's elected president, by default, automatically, he's free of all charges.
So November 5th, we'll know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it matters if they let him on the ballot. The Rhino Republicans aren't going to. You can write it in, right? This is what happens. You tell the American people no, just like a 4-year-old kid, don't eat that cookie. They're going to try to eat that cookie. That's all it is.
So all these elites that caused all these problems, that brought the charges against him, and that charged him in that kangaroo court and did everything, they're just going to say, "Oh, okay, this is the way it goes."
Let me tell you. Here's a few theories about it. Who caused this, and is it the Republicans that caused this to create so much publicity? Because even bad publicity is publicity.
Oh no, you're getting deep there. I don't think that's.
Or is it the Democrats? Are they so sick of the Democrat Party that they're causing this? There's a lot of Democrats jumping ship.
Oh yeah, no, I have no doubt that he'll win the election. But what they're doing, I think that these elites that are controlling everything like that are so isolated that they don't even know. They don't even have any idea. They think we're all stupid. And
mostly
Holly says it all. Holly says it all depends on the judge. But look what this judge. It's such a botched trial that you're making special rules and you're doing this and that. I'm all for trials. You can trial, but if you're going to put this guy on trial and you're going to make special rules, and you say you can't use a professional witness, or you have to do that for everybody. You can't just. It's just weird how it's going into the direction it's going and how they did it. It's not right how they did it.
Yeah,
no way that
Gray said,
anybody.
Trump lost, and still within 24 hours he raised like 54 million, something like that. It's crazy. Yeah. No, I don't have any doubt, but I just wonder about the people who are doing this, who are instigating this. What's going to be what's going to happen? What are they going to try to do? What's their next step?
This is what they're trying to do, I think. They're trying to keep him out of public eye. I think they thought, let's keep him in court. Let's keep him in court. He can't campaign. It don't matter. The people are tired of politicians, period.
That's it.
It don't matter who comes in. I don't care if he grabs somebody by the pussy. I don't care if he paid off a porn star. People don't want a dirty. It's all he is in the open about what he does. Do you want a friend that goes behind your back and says you're ugly and stupid? No, you want the guy who comes in like, hey man, you're stupid, you're ugly. Like that's all Trump is. Everybody don't like his attitude.
Calvin said straight up we were ugly, and I appreciate that.
I don't.
Yeah. That's a ginger for you.
Speak for yourself.
You know, I just think that people are tired of the
okay. Okay. Hold on. Just hold on a minute. I posed the question, what do you think's going to happen? And I think that there's a bigger plan in place. I think that they're absolutely, I mean, look at our debt. I mean, what the interest on the debt is like, I can't even, it's like doubles every 2 months or something like that. It's terrible. I think there's a plan to cause some kind of revolution. And they're trying to separate the people. And they're trying to create unrest and disturbances that's going to cause lots and lots of problems. And it's all because of, I think a lot of it's because of AI. Artificial intelligence, because it's going to displace so many people. There's going to be not that many jobs because AI can do things that, when you look into it, it's scary what AI can do.
Look at your Spanish channel, Brett.
I speak Spanish on it.
Perfectly.
Well, yeah.
And it sounds like you.
I learned my voice, and that's AI.
Oh man, AI is such a huge rabbit.
Not only do I speak Spanish, but I speak perfect Portuguese too.
Oh, does?
No.
Trump ain't going to jail. He's going to be president again. That's true, Wayne. But
there's going to be. That's
because the people are tired of watching MASH. They want to see a John Wayne movie, and oh man, I should have sent you that video. There's a video where they're like not rioting, they're like protesting somewhere, saying Trump needs to come back. There's another country. Gosh, I just seen it. I'd have to look it up, and they're saying that Trump needs to come back in to get rid of the wars and fix everything.
Oh yeah, the military industrial complex. It's just I still believe, and they're going to try to usher in, they're going to have to, universal basic income because of AI is going to displace so many workers. It's going to be terrible.
It already has. And here's, you guys got Circle Ks. You guys been to Circle K where they have the little kiosk where you put your stuff under it and it's supposed to read it?
Did you know at one time I had a contract with Circle K. I met them in Dallas. I was supposed to do all of their underground storage tanks.
You should have.
No, and a month later, after we were getting everything going, they sold to the Chinese.
Oh, no. Canada bought them.
No, it was Chinese. It was Chinese at that time. This is
maybe. I know Canada owns them now.
This was back in the 90s.
Well, so those kiosks, you're supposed to take away from people, the self-checkout. So they only allow so many hours for their employees. And they got, say, one or two of these kiosks, but they never work. So you're basically manning these non-manned.
That's that self-checkout thing?
Yes. And then they whine about people. I'm going to tell you this right now. Call me a thieving son of a whatever. If I put my shit up there and they don't read right and they don't get it, I'd pay for what I get and I leave. I'm not messing around with it. If you don't want to ring it up, I'm gone. If they only charge me $3 for $15 worth of shit, that's not my problem. I don't got time for that.
Yeah.
I don't got time for that. I don't usually use them because they never work. But it's like all the self-checkouts. You're not. The self-checkouts are great, and then they wonder why they have like $22,000 a day at Walmart per store of stuff missing.
That's employees probably.
I'm gonna tell you, I know people that work there, and I know people who've just been fired because they watched them for so long till it hit $1,000, where it's that range of felony type shit. So I fought it, but I enjoy the self checkout like at Lowe's. Man, I can check myself out just that fast now. But I fought it at first because I thought this is, I come in here and buy things and I want somebody to wait on me. But now I don't worry about it. I just check myself out. It's me, Brett. It's me, Brett, guys.
I spend my money in here. By God, I want somebody to wait on me.
Yep.
They don't care.
But, the only fraud committed in the Trump case was the fraud the courts committed. It's pretty bad. I mean, that was such a crappy trial. I mean, there's actual jurors in there that don't like Trump and has said they don't like Trump. To me, that's why. And didn't they go through like 200 jurors?
Well, and they wouldn't they wouldn't grant a change of venue because Trump knew how disliked he was in that area. They couldn't get a fair jury. I don't know.
If Trump was smart, he'd pull every business out of New York and go somewhere else. Shut it down. Shut it down.
I don't know nothing
Look
about
at California. Look at California.
What about it?
They're losing so many businesses. Millions and millions and $1 million, $500 million businesses moving to Arizona.
Then they'll start changing the way you guys live over there.
Oh, they already have.
They absolutely already have. I was looking for property up around Skull Valley, and I went to a bar over there to have lunch at Kirkland. And there was an old Mexican woman in there that owned the bar forever. She was originally from down there around Bisbee. And she was telling me that they've infiltrated the county commission and the Californians. She said there's only like 4 of them that live in this area, and 3 of them are in power already. So they're already changing everything.
Whose fault is it? Is it the politicians? No. Is it government? No. It's our fault. It's our fault they take dogs away. It's our fault they take trapping away because we're too busy not paying attention. Those guys get paid $165,000 a year to pay attention, and no one wants to. That's the big deal when I say, like, Save the Hunt, Colorado, save.com. If you don't want to go to and do the legislature yourself, pay somebody to do it. You got to have somebody to do it. You have to have an organization as big as the Humane Society of the United States to go around and fight. You're not going to put a 140-pound lightweight boxer against Mike Tyson. You have to fight muscle for muscle, weight. You have to have a weight class.
But there's
nobody that has the money.
The problem is there's more of them than us.
There is, and they're becoming more and more of them because we're not going after the younger generation. And
because
people ask me, what do you...
Because of change of lifestyles too. I mean, so many people are not rural anymore. They're not. They've moved so far away from the land that they don't understand. They live in concrete and asphalt and watch cable
it's
television.
100 against 1.
And watch cable television.
That's why, as an influencer or a YouTube person, you can do so good these days.
I do.
Because people don't want to get on a mule. They want to watch somebody get on a mule. That shit we think is boring every day we get on. These people love it because they don't get to do it. They don't even want to try to do it. And I get it because you can't afford to do it. You can't afford to. You know how much hay and dog food is. It costs me $10,000 a year.
I was going to say I can't afford to do it, but
I can't afford to do it.
It's like I said in the video. I said, well, I probably won't ever sell this mule for $50,000 unless my wife loses her job.
Yeah. I don't think anyone actually likes Trump. I like Trump just because he's honest and he's a businessman.
Oh, I like him, but I bet I wouldn't like him in person. I bet I wouldn't like to just sit around and drink a cup of coffee with him.
Yeah. Is he a guy that you could go shoot birds with? Is he a guy that you could go roller skate with or go to the movies with? I don't know. But as far as running a business,
he's probably as far as running things, making things happen, and then his policies. I mean, I like his policies, but as far as just sitting down and drinking, he's probably an arrogant prick, really.
He might be. Or he might be the nicest guy you ever met.
Maybe. I don't know. And I probably never will. Why don't you see if you can get him on the pod? Why don't you see if you can get him on our live?
Listen. Oh, no. I'm going to get him to the rendezvous, and we're going to see if he's any good. You hear that, Mr. Trump?
Maybe we can host a debate. Invite Biden and Trump on our live, and we'll host a debate.
When is that coming out? That's going to be a joke.
They say that they're trying to make it where they have to sit down. Biden wants them to sit down.
No,
because he can't stand up for that long.
Yeah,
no audience. That's ridiculous.
You know, it's going to be like the Mike Tyson and whatever that dumb shit YouTuber guy's name is, Jake Paul or whatever.
You don't think
Jake?
You don't think Jake Paul's going to knock him out?
If they can fight like a normal boxing ring. Listen.
What do you mean a normal boxing ring? What do you mean a normal boxing ring?
Like a normal boxing match where there's no.
Oh. I thought you meant they had to have a bigger ring so Jake could run from him.
No, I don't know what they're gonna do. They had a bunch of rules. Like at first you hear that he could wear a head mask or a.
No, they changed all that.
No, and I give Jake Paul props for even wanting to get in a ring with Mike Tyson, but he is 60 years old.
It's all right.
But I'm gonna tell you, I think fight was canceled. What?
Well, because it's been postponed, not canceled. It was postponed because he has an ulcer. He's old, man.
Yeah,
Tyson.
I wouldn't want to fight Tyson if he had one leg.
And wore 24-ounce gloves. I mean that guy's a monster. I mean, can you?
Tyson doesn't scare me, but I would insist that he wears a muzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's going to be fighting during the fight, there's only going to be one, and it's going to be me.
Tyson's not the one who bit. It was
No, Buster Douglas.
No, it was. Yeah, he bit Evander Holyfield, didn't he? Was that who? Bit his ear off?
Buster Douglas.
No, it wasn't Buster Douglas. Wasn't Buster Douglas.
Was it?
No.
Yeah,
who was it? I thought it was Buster Douglas.
It was Evander.
Yeah, he bit Evander's ear off. Well, yeah.
Yeah, that was a long. You got to think about how long ago that was too. That was like 20 years ago, wasn't it?
Hey, I remember going down to the Coliseum down in El Paso and on closed circuit TV watching Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hitman Hearns fight. That was a good fight, but it's on a big screen, closed circuit. That was before we had all this cable stuff and everything.
Well, I'm if I start watching UFC and buying pay-per-views, it's like someone going to the casino that gambles. I just keep buying them.
Gets out of hand. Yeah, I love to watch a good fight.
So I wait till they come on YouTube and I look at the highlights.
That's the best, yeah. What else, guys? Benny? Come on, Benny. Contribute, man.
Look, Brett's all eager to stay on now because he only has about a 1.5 minute walk.
Traffic will be terrible.
to his other front door. We talked about what we talked. We talked about Colin a little bit. We talked about Chris Powell. See if we can get him riled up. The undercover game warden. It's still working. I think he's after Ed Barnes.
That's what it is.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Rumor is.
That's what my undercover guys in Arizona said.
Rumor is. I was going to try to
Yeah.
do something here.
Yeah. And if anybody didn't watch last week, we had old Brent Reeves on. He was a good guest.
Yeah, he went on and on. That guy he has such a good podcast too. That our My Country Life, or what's it called? My Country Life.
This Country Life.
This Country Life.
This Country Life.
Oh, look at now. Let's get back into hounds and lion hunting.
Yeah.
I found the biggest lion track I ever seen yesterday in the dirt. I'm at the "Don't need more dogs, you need better dogs" stage. Man, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you find one of those big old tracks and you think it's fresh and you think the dog should be able to trail it and they don't bark on it, and all you want to do is go get more dogs or different dogs. But sometimes it don't matter. They just can't trail it, huh, Benny?
Yes, absolutely. And it depends too if it's a male or it's a female. And it depends if they're putting the sneak on some prey or if they're just walking along. There's so many different variations and so much input. I had a young man over here to the house this evening, and before we came on and we were talking, and he hunts bears and he hunts lions in the snow, and he wants to hunt lions in the dirt. And I asked him why. And, and I kind of gave him the answer too, because it's just the challenge. It's
For
the
the challenge, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just, I've known some darn good lion hunters, some of the old guys. And, for instance, Larry Hendricks. Larry Hendricks hunted lions forever, but since he was 35 years old, his wife left, and Larry didn't do anything the rest of his life except hunt lions, period. That's all he did since he was 35 years old. And he was, I don't know, he was in his 70s. And I was at his house and he said, "Hey, I need to ask you a question." I said, "What's up?" And he said, "Here's this deal." He was hunting on the Wallapai Indian Reservation. And he says, "I saw this deal. This lion did this, this, this. I've never, ever, ever heard of anything. Have you ever heard of anything like that?" And I said, "No, Larry, but if you haven't heard of it, why do you think I would?" But, when a guy that's hunted lions for 35 plus years, done nothing his whole entire life, nothing but hunt lions for 35 years, and he still hasn't seen everything, he gets caught off guard. That just tells you what kind of a challenge it can be.
Oh, it's tough. There ain't nothing.
I have another idea.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one, Brett.
Shoot.
I'm afraid to say it. I don't want none of these other people that want to be just like us, to take my idea. It's going to be a good one. It's going to involve probably 10 good hound hunters and 10 questions. I would like to see the exact same question. If you ask 10 hound hunters the exact same question, I'd love to see the answer, almost like a Family Feud, how they take 100 people, ask them a question. And
you probably have a better response rate if you kept the answers anonymous.
Yeah, you don't let nobody know. You just go to somebody.
Some guy say,
ask
"This
them
is
10
anonymous."
questions.
Ask them 10 questions, get their answers.
You could.
But
you could call. You could.
The problem with
you could
houndsmen
call-
is they'll lie.
That's probably true. But like this right now, like I found the biggest lion track. The question could be, do you need more dogs or better dogs? What I'd like to hear 10 opinions. I'd like to hear 10 opinions, because you get some guys that run 15 dogs. Oh, man. My son's jumping around like a monkey.
You're showing your hind end there, Chris.
All right. Jumping around like a monkey over there. But I'd like to, some guys that run 15 dogs, there's some guys that run 2 dogs, 3 dogs. So.
I like to run
You
a
know what I
bunch of
mean?
dogs just because I like to have a bunch of dogs. Probably only got 3 that are doing all the work.
There's some days I take out 10, and there's some days I take out 5. But I usually say I'm only going to take 5, and I end up taking 6. 7. I don't want to leave one at home in case I get trailing or catch something, so the younger ones will kind of pick up on it.
Hey, what kind of pistol do you guys want to carry for a bear hunt?
I carry my 45 or my 10 millimeter, but usually I carry my 45 long Colt. I load them myself though.
You load them hot, I'll bet.
A little bit enough. I load them hot enough for my rifle, and I can shoot out my pistol. But
What about you, Brett?
you
I
hear,
don't carry a pistol.
you hear. I know Brett carries his 410 lever action.
I
Kill that slugger.
I got slugs in my, but I carry when if I think there's going to be bears, I got my 30-30, and just because I've never shot a pistol much. I've never, like you guys are talking about loading hot. I've never reloaded or done anything like that.
I carry because I've hunted South Arizona my whole life. So it's not mainly for animals, it's for other things and people you might run into out there.
I don't get off my mule and walk anywhere without my 30-30. I mean, it goes with me.
When I'm south of I-8, I don't carry my 30-30. I carry my AK-47 with about 5 magazines. No, or my Mini 14.
I got a Mini 14.
And I carry my Glocks. Yeah, I carry either my Mini 14 with like 5 30-round magazines, or I carry my AK.
And I say that I have a 1911 that is right in my door panel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I got it right there, and I do carry it sometimes, but I don't have a lot of confidence that I could hit what I was aiming at.
Well, if I'm bear hunting, I carry my 10 millimeter because you hear a lot of stories. So who had that story where there was a good podcast that the guy ended up getting attacked by a bear, rolled on him, he went down a hill. I don't remember which it's on W, I believe. I don't remember which one it was. It was a good story though. Hand to hand with a bear. Maybe it was Chris Powell when he was on W. Or the Hound Hunter.
Well,
it was one of them guys.
Within the last couple of been 4 bear attacks in Arizona.
Well, just recently, we was over in Greer, in Springerville, or it was Alpine. I went to Alpine Sunday, and it came into a cabin. Yeah,
a bear broke into a house and mauled a 15-year-old kid in Alpine.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's been in the last week and a half or 2 weeks, there's been 4 bear attacks in Arizona.
Is it droughty over there or something, or?
No, it's been wet, Brett.
What's the deal? What do you think's going on?
I think they're just getting mean. Everybody's, there's a lot of catch release. There's a lot of, they're getting, wildlife in general is getting desensitized to humans.
I think I'm gonna go kill a bear this year. I think I'm gonna let my terrorists run a bear, and I'm gonna go over there with my buggy. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it like those other guys do it with where I can get around on a buggy, and I'm gonna go ahead and I want to kill me a big bear. I've never killed a bear. I've treated quite a few of them, but I've never killed one.
I killed one in 2010.
I've had guys with me that killed them, but I never shot one, and I want to shoot one. Big one. I don't want to shoot a little one.
Holly, you don't see a lion track on a rock. You see it in the dirt, washes. Or she being silly. I think she's being silly.
She's just saying, yeah, that's it. Because half the time where we hunt, you can't find a lion track. You're just hoping it's not a fox.
Hey, how come, guys? In my soft pocket, I 41 Magnum. How come I don't hear more about the 41 Magnum?
Is that what you carry?
We hear 44s and 45s and all of this, but I've got a 41 Magnum, and I love that gun.
No.
I think
that is the loudest. That is the loudest firearm I've ever heard in my life.
Is that a pistol?
Yeah.
Benny's in. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, I wasn't there. Go ahead.
You were there. It was your 41 shooting at the damn lion, and it was just blowing my eardrums out.
Well, you were caught off guard. It's not near as loud as a 357.
It was loud.
Is a 32? My buddy shot a bear. I got him a bear, and it was a 32 lever action. 32 Craig, maybe? Does that sound right? It was a 32 caliber.
No, it's
it
a
was
30, 40 Craig. I used to.
No, this was just like a 32 caliber lever action. I thought that's weird, but man, it killed that bear.
It killed it.
Killed that bar dead. Missy, you're way behind us.
When I was hunting bear, when Rick Dickerson and I were taking hunters out, no game, no pay, way back in the day, and had trouble with all those people, I didn't have a pistol. And my wife was the manager of a pizza inn, and she would get quarterly bonuses. And she said, "Hey, I want to get you a pistol so that you get up there with a bear," because she knew how I behaved. I could get into trouble with them. And so I said, well, I don't want to carry a heavy 44 all over the place. So I guess the only thing I know, give me one of those nasty 357s. And, I'm not a fan of, well, my dad said this. And I give a rip. But anyway, she showed up with a pistol, and I said, what the hell is this? She said, it's a 41 Magnum. I said, I never even heard of that. And she says, well, my dad says, and turns out her dad was pretty accurate. That was a good choice, and I'm glad she talked to her dad first.
I'm gonna bring up some memories here, Benny. If I can get to them.
Wasn't a 32-30. It was a 32 Wayland, I believe. I tell you what, that 30-30 isn't. I mean, I've shot coyotes at 400 yards with it. It's not probably super accurate way out that far, but that 30-30 is an all around. I'll shoot a bear 30-30 or an elk. So
I reloaded my own bullets, and I ran 210 grain hollow points, and I loaded them 3 grains over what the book called for. So I loaded them hot, and that's probably why Brett was a little jumpy. And you should have seen his mule's eyes. They all bugged out too, and half the hounds left.
He shot.
Only came back.
Okay. I had like 4 or 5 dogs there at the treeing on this lion. And all of a sudden, bam! And those dogs were like quail. Woo! They.
and Brett says, "What the hell was that?"
You can't tell a 30-30 apart. So I have a 45 long Colt lever action I just bought last year, a couple years ago, just because I had my 45. And then my kids asked me what I wanted for Father's Day, and I told them I wanted a Cattleman 45 revolver.
There's
short
Benny.
One with a little handle.
There's Benny taking aim.
That 32, whatever it was, the Wayland or the Special or the Winchester, it did damage on that bear. I was surprised. But I did buy a 45 lever action. Oh, Henry. Oh.
Dang it.
But if I know we're going in a weird country, I take my 10 millimeter.
What do you mean weird country?
If I know I'm going to be in a spot out in the middle of nowhere and I need heavy ammunition, that 10 millimeter
for like
awesome
what?
round.
I mean, for bears? Is what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, big bear. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm hiking in somewhere for a while, I take that. That 45 will kill a bear, but that 10 millimeter has 15 rounds in it.
That 45 doesn't have enough gas to penetrate sometimes.
Well, that's yeah,
Got a long Colt.
yeah.
Okay, a 45 ACP
No,
doesn't
yeah.
have enough.
No, I
The,
got my 45
the long,
ACPs. I got a couple of them.
yeah, the
Huh.
long Colt has
So,
plenty.
yep. Yeah, and I buy the good bullet. I reload. So, and that, when you get into reloading, you get some people that reload and they dump some powder in and they get the. I have a very expensive one. I think when I bought it 20 years ago, I got the deal in and I got the second to the biggest one because I didn't want the automatic. I have the automatic powder, but I took it off because even my pistol rounds, I measure all my powder and dump it in anyways, even for my 40s or my 10s. So I have two 7 millimeters, my brother's and my dad's, and I loaded 62 grains in one, 64 in the other, because they fired different. Like they're same exact gun, same manufacturer, same model, but one would pattern better at 62 grains, one would pattern better at 64 grains.
There's me, Benny, and Lily treeing.
Wait a minute. Benny ain't got no overalls on.
That was whoa. That was prior to the look at him. You can almost see his belt buckle. I got more pictures of this. I just can't find them. That was a good time, Mr. Benny.
It was. That was when we were hunting down there in the tropical weather.
Wasn't
the
this
desert.
wasn't the same as when you first came up and hunted with me.
Oh,
No, it
speaking
wasn't
of
even
hunting,
Oh my gosh. Up there close to the polar ice cap. We were not even close there, no.
the Gila, your guys' little Gila wilderness is 100 years old.
It was, the Gila was the first designated wilderness ever.
Old.
1924.
I didn't know.
Aldo Leopold.
I called Brett and I said, "Hey, I got this property over here," which turned out to be a kind of a gold mine scam. But I got this property over here, and it's by the Aldo Leopold. I didn't know who that was, and the Meat Eater podcast today had that Aldo Leopold podcast on, so I learned a little bit about that guy.
That well, the Gila Wilderness used to take in everything, and then that North Star Road came in. They split it, and the northern end they called the northwestern end they called the Gila Wilderness, and then the southeastern side they called the Aldo Leopold Wilderness, and that's where my place was. My place was within like 3 or 4 miles of the border of the Aldo Leopold, and
Yeah.
And you hear the reason for that road? Why they put that road in?
They said that the deer were starving and dying in there because the hunters couldn't penetrate far enough into the wilderness to get them killed.
Yeah.
And
they had to split that up to get them in there. Yeah.
And so they split it up, and that's a neat road. I mean, and there's wilderness on both sides of that road. I mean, there's not many places you can, when you get past Wall Lake, it's wilderness on both sides. So I've packed through there several times. It's pretty cool.
That goes back to the conversation about conservation. Is if you don't manage them, they'll kill themselves. They eat themselves out of house and home.
Well,
they get to the disease. Like, I don't think people understand conservation.
They don't. They think it's without our presence, that it's some glorious balance between predator and prey and everything, but it doesn't work that way. It's big cycles. I mean, you have big cycles where they overpopulate and then they die off, and those cycles might be in 30-year increments or something like that. I don't. But we're here to keep the balance, and that's what conservation is.
Everybody overlooks in the desert Southwest. If it weren't for people there would be no water.
No.
The water, that there would not be any water dispersed, and even these springs, so many of the springs, the ranchers have drilled back in there and opened those springs up so that they would come out and flow to feed their cattle. So, you take the man out, and what are you going to do? How are you going to maintain the waters? Because the water's not dispersed for the wildlife to have the numbers that it has.
There you go.
I have
Holly
to see
Moore.
if I'm subscribed.
I'll watch it. Holly, I watched some of your videos today.
I gotta see if I'm even subscribed on her. I'm gonna go check it out
Yeah,
now.
Check it out. Here,
I'm gonna subscribe.
let me show you.
I might be already. Maybe not.
We're going to promote your channel, Holly. We'll send you a bill. We'll send you an invoice in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it at?
Holly Moore, British model.
I think that's someone different.
Mountain Lion Hunt. Holly Moore. I bet you this is her.
Here.
Probably gonna be loud.
Do you got it coming up? Are you sharing the screen? Can you do that?
Oh, I could. I don't know.
Here, I
Let me
can
see.
do it right
I think-
here.
I can share a screen.
Right there. Can y'all see that?
Oh, that's her. Oh, wow. That's her. I am going to subscribe. How come she don't pop up on my, I watch a lot of the hound stuff and mountain lion stuff, and it's never popped up on. There's so many channels out there, though. So many channels. Is this her video?
Yeah.
On gun topic, I'm going to create a short. Oh, that's one you just read. A lot of people use that 30-30. Anytime I brought somebody, I said, here's my 30-30. I found a 30-30. Actually, I have it with me because I have to change the sights out. I got it. I got it cheap.
Holly, if you want to if you want to spend the money, there's a program called Topaz Studio or Topaz Labs, and it's an AI program. And it's kind of slow and it's kind of expensive, but you can take those old videos like that and run it through them, and it'll take a lot of that shake out of it. It'll upgrade them, like if they were filmed in 720p, it's possible to upgrade it to 1080p, and it's all done through AI. I've done a few old videos like that. So something to think about. You might look it up because that's some really neat content. If it was just a little less shaky and a little clearer, it'd be really good.
We're not all filthy, stinking rich like Brett is.
I'm not rich. My wife has a good job in town.
Holly, do you know Breck Bean? I see that Breck Bean's going to have a trained hound dog over here in this goofy sale, I guess. Did you go to that sale last year, Brett?
No.
Over here in New Mexico? Hounds,
Don't
horses,
ask Brett about it. He's angry.
I offered them 2 puppies to sell, and they said, "Oh no, we'll only take 1." I said, "Well, hell with you then."
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I can be an asshole sometimes.
Sometimes.
What?
He's mad I didn't call him back, and I can't even remember my own number.
Topaz Labs. Yeah, look it up. See, it's kind of, and then watch some videos about it, Holly, about how to use it, because I've been trying to learn how to use it, but I'm not.
There you go, Brett. Brett just has a sugar mama.
I do.
In more ways than you know, Calvin.
Well, Topaz, come hold the camera for
Me and Breck Bean have traded dogs. So yeah, Breck's a good guy. And I tell you what, now him and his son, they catch a lot of lions. Good lion hunters.
Have you ever hunted anywhere in the Davis Mountains, Brett?
No, Never have.
It's very rocky.
I think they have a really good influx of lions coming out of Mexico right there. It's kind of like the Palencios when we were down there. I think that's they get a good influx. I had a chance to go hunt on the Amazon ranch for right across the interstate there, and I came out. I helped a friend of mine sold the guy who runs that was buying a head horse for his daughter. And the guy who was selling the horse asked me if I could come over and heel for him or for her so we could get that horse showed. And I went over there and healed some steers. And I got talking to him, and they said, yeah, they like to have somebody because they, hunt the lions because of the bighorn sheep and this and that. But, gosh dang, all the paperwork you had to go through to get out there and the rules and regulations. I said, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Make everything hard.
I hunted down towards the end of the mountains by Kenna. I was actually on the ranch that, oh crap, what was that? There's an actor that had a ranch down there. He's long in the tooth now, and I can't remember his name. I want to say something Lee. Anyway,
Tommy
Lee.
Yeah. Lonesome Dove fame.
I hunted on Tommy Lee Jones's ranch, and I hunted in it was right up there by the telescope up on top of the mountain. I can't remember the name of the ranch or the guy that had it, but I hunted over there too, and it's all good country.
How do you spell McIntyre?
I either forget to start a camera or I get everything but the dogs in the game. Welcome to the club.
Who says that?
Tim Brink. Oh, how many times I didn't grab my camera because you're just running and.
Yeah.
Especially when you're soloing.
What about Del City, Holly? What about Del City?
Chelsea. Entrepreneur or empreneur?
Eppenauer. That's exactly where it is. Bob Eppenauer. That's where I hunted, Holly.
There you go.
It won't come through.
She's on top of things.
I bet I got a picture in here of her father, too. I got all.
Where's Holly from? Where's Holly from? New Mexico? Or what?
Oh, Texas, Davis Mountains.
Oh. That's close enough. She could come to our rendezvous, too. Just one state over.
Yeah, I really liked the country over there on Bob Eppenauer. That was some good hunting.
What are the mountains like over there in Texas? You think of Texas, you definitely don't think of mountains.
They're neat.
Well, you go to the mountains and you'll see different.
I lived in Lubbock for 8 years.
That's a different part.
Near Guadalupe.
Mm-hmm.
Holly, I had a ranch in the Guadalupe Mountains. It was the last place in New Mexico. It ran right up against Texas. Big Canyon was on me, and it was right there close to McKittrick Canyon. So I've been all over the Guadalupes, and I know exactly where that stuff is out of Del City too. I did a lot of work down in Del City through the years.
I got a picture of Tommy Lee Jones with Henry McIntyre and a lion, but I can't get it to come on. It's a CR2.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, it's off of your camera, Canon, ain't it?
Yes, and it won't convert. I can't convert it right now with what I got.
I know. I had to download a converter program off my NCH.
It's pretty cool.
That drives me crazy.
Picture.
You can screenshot it, Brett.
Yeah, I guess I could, huh?
Screenshot it and then go into your pictures, go to the screenshots and share that. what
Oh,
I'm here
Holly,
for.
I was in Lubbock. Let's see, what is today? I was in Lubbock. What day was I in Lubbock? I guess I was in Lubbock Wednesday.
Last time I was in Lubbock was 86, and I got on Google Maps, and I lived right on the county line, south of, as far south you get on the county line, and it was a dirt road. Now it's a
Be right back.
4-lane highway, or gotta go pee pee. It's a 4-lane highway, or whatever it is. It's huge. The farm is still there across the road, but we used to sit on that road and throw rocks at cars, and we finally hit one, and it was a damn U.S. mail truck. We got in big trouble. But it's crazy how big Lubbock has grown. You know,
Oh,
that's all
it's
they have is
crazy.
that loop. What is that? I-8 loop or whatever it is. Loop
No,
eight loop. I don't know.
so you're
Yeah, I
working
don't
by
remember.
I-8.
But it's man, that little town, Lubbock, had just blown up. I can't believe it.
Well, when uh, when New Mexico's tyrant governor closed New Mexico down, an awful lot of people in southeast New Mexico moved to Lubbock. I mean, the influx of people from New Mexico was outrageous. There you go, Loop 289. Holly, my wife's going to a dentist over there, just just on the west edge of Lubbock. And anytime we go over there, we take the opportunity to go goof off and see some things that is not available in a poorest state in the union.
Wednesday, huh? What brought you to Lubbock? 289. Currently live in Lubbock. Left Lubbock in 86, so there wasn't much there. What do you got coming up, Benny? Anything exciting?
Oh, I went to Sam's Club today and found prime brisket for the same price as regular briskets. So I bought a bunch of briskets. I'm gonna probably this weekend I'm gonna smoke some briskets and put them in the fridge and chill them, and then I'll get them out and slice them up and put them in pans. And I don't know if I'm gonna freeze them or just get ready to put them in roasters and have a little get together.
I think I'll take my dogs out and run some bears illegally. See, now I
Well,
know. Now, well, I'm going to run those in 3B. See, now I know where all the game wardens are going to be.
Holly,
Oh, my
Holly,
son. I
I live
Go
between
ahead.
Roswell and in southeast New Mexico.
Aren't
So,
you currently trying to not live there no more?
well, yeah, that's kind of been put on the back burner. I want to go home to Arizona. I want to finish out my days in Arizona. And so I've been looking around. I thought about going west of Prescott, Skull Valley area. California screwed everything up. I found 14 acres west of Bisbee, Arizona, in a canyon where it was worth the money. And so I don't know. I got to look into that a little bit more. Finding something that the Californians haven't polluted with their moving states is hard to do.
Yep. Spring Bear still open on the here until the 25th.
There you go, Chris. Go to the res.
Mm, too legal. I just feel like doing something illegal this weekend. Legal in Idaho,
Well,
Chris.
I know what you can do. You can go right down there that intersection in Sholo, where the traffic light is, and you can go south and go down there towards Walmart, or you can go on the main drag through town. Just stand right there on the side of the road and pee in the gutter.
That's what I'm going to do. It's a good idea. Is it illegal to chase horses with dogs? Or they get me for harassment? So is a horse considered wildlife now?
I don't see how that could be.
What? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Benny. If I'm
Hey,
out there chasing horses, uh-oh.
that's what I like.
Damn. Wait, who's this for here? We have to fight? Is this going to be we have to fight for her? Me, Brett, and Benny? He says, just got you a second wife on the res and you can move here. I need an auntie. I need an auntie. He knows what I'm talking about when I say I need an auntie. So you know Keith Riley, Glenn Hopkins?
I know Keith Riley.
Glenn Hopkins is nowhere. I don't think Glenn's alive anymore. Glenn actually quit hunting. He lived up there in Cloudcroft, and he quit hunting because he had such a bad attitude about anybody else being on the mountain that he was on the verge of wanting to kill people, and so he quit. He got rid of his hounds and quit hunting. Keith Riley lives in Hobbs now.
His wife is Nancy, right, Holly? Me and Nancy have our picture on the cover of the Super Looper magazine. We won a big rope in Albuquerque one time.
How come Benny gets a res wife? That's some bullshit.
It's because
he has a spear? Because he has a spear.
I did my part to build part of a school for the people. I've invested in the people.
What if Calvin just adopts all of us?
Hey, I repoed cars off the res. Doesn't that count?
That's a completely different subject.
Oh, I found lots of aunties when I was there. What if Calvin just adopts all of us? There you go, Calvin. Brothers from another mother.
You know, everybody before they want Calvin to adopt them, they need to go out there and go to one of those little chapter houses and see what's going on and see just how far you want to go to live on the res.
You gotta like mutton.
I don't see the sheep out there. I don't see the sheep that there used to be. I don't see a lot of things like it used to be on the res.
He's looking for land to build on. That's why. I'll build on some land. I don't think Calvin likes me. Is it because I got 9? Is it because I got 9 kids?
Can you pronounce Lukachukai?
Lukachukai?
And Chinchilbato? You got to say a little. Chinchilbato?
Oh yeah, I got some Navajo friends that teach me some of them bad words.
That's not a bad. That's a. No. I can't tell you my Navajo name.
Where did that thumb come?
It does it. It does it automatically on that phone. If you like, I think it reads you, and if you say something, it will automatically pop up as you like it. Benny likes it. Benny likes his aunties. I don't know.
Say it again, Benny.
Chinchilbato.
No.
That's when it popped up, I think.
Was it?
I think it did. Calvin, we're all adults. All you got to do is, if I could find somebody on the res that would take $10,000 to give me a res number, I'd be very happy. Calvin, just saying. If you know anybody in government.
Okay.
Hey,
we realize
Benny's pulling something out.
Oh. Is that your credit
What's that,
card?
Calvin? No, you can't read it. Calvin,
Is that his?
He'll know. It's my says it's got a number and it says my name. It's from the hospital in Chinle, Arizona. I am a registered part. It's my Indian health card.
I wish Benny would get his phone up higher. Tired of looking at his nostrils.
All houndsmen are worse than kids. Calvin, your point is what? There is no point. All houndsmen are whiny little babies. How long we been on?
3 hours. 2 hours and 59 minutes.
Well, you know.
And what's more amazing than that, we've had probably over 80 people in here for most of the time.
Yeah, I seen it got all the way up to 100 and something.
Yeah, that's amazing.
IHS card.
It's because we had Benny's picture on the thumbnail.
That's what it was.
They just said, man, we got to go see this old man.
And then we did kind of poke a little fun at somebody with our title too, didn't we?
The Raw Dog Crew. Yeah, we gave them good. We gave them a good review, though.
We did. We bragged about their podcast.
I bet
they probably hate our guts.
They won't say nothing about us, though. They'll just look down their podcast nose at us.
Yeah.
They're just trash. Those guys are trash.
Yeah. Stupid YouTubers.
Low-life YouTubers. Oh, my gosh.
Hey, Brett, I saw a friend of yours today. I didn't go over there. I didn't take the time to spend the rest of the day talking to him. But I saw David Heiss at Sam's Club.
How's he doing? I know he's had some health issues, right?
Yeah, I think he's doing okay. He's old and skinny, but he was young and skinny back in the day.
One of the toughest men I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
They say when he was young that he really, really liked to fight. And then he was at the fire station, and he became like a third-degree black belt or something.
David was, he's tough. And today he's still tough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who was it? Him and Fred Lucero used to go and they shot horses, shoot horses all over the place. And said they'd go somewhere to a rodeo or something. They're going to be shooting horses, and he'd look up. David'd be out on the other side of the bleachers fighting people. He'd go pick fights with people. He'd love to fight.
There was a guy that neighbored me here. He leased the ranch that surrounds me, and me and him didn't get along. And David was over here shoeing my horses, and I had already gone to court with this knucklehead, and David had to know because he looks up from underneath that horse and he says, "Hey, you and so ever get everything straightened out?" I said, "Well, yeah, 3 days ago we went to court and the judge knew he had to do something, so he gave me a little bit of money, and I really took it in the shorts because they played the poor old man card to the other guy." And David smiled. He said, he tried to hire me to come beat you up. I said, "No kidding." He says, "Yeah." And he says, and I assured him, he says, "I don't have any problem with Benny." And he says, "I don't know that you know Benny good enough." He says, "He's not going to take an ass whooping that he hasn't got coming, and he hasn't got an ass whooping coming from me." He said, "If you want to beat him up, you beat him up." He says, "But if I was to beat him up, that might be the last fight I ever lived through." And I just laughed at old David.
When I was running those stag hounds, David's the one who got me the dogs. Of course, David knows where every dog in the country is.
Oh, man.
And I wanted a good throat dog for coyotes. And I drove over to Roswell and picked him up, and we drove to Portales to pick up this dog. I didn't have a dog box. And we threw that dog I had a super cab truck, put him in the super cab, and we were driving back. And I didn't even really know David very good at that time. My dad knew him real good. I didn't know him very good. We were driving back. And I mean, that dog stunk. I mean, he stunk and he farted and farted. Finally, David looked at me and he said, "That dog smells like he's got 25 assholes." He's one of a kind.
One more question. Sure. And I'll leave you. Did y'all know Blackie Woods? Maybe we just have
I've
to
heard-
get old Holly on here.
Yeah, I've heard lots of stories about Blackie. I didn't know him, but I've heard a lot of people talk about him. He caught a lot of lions. He used running walkers, from what I understand.
Richard Holcomb was personal friends with Blackie Woods, but I never met or talked to Blackie.
I never met him. I heard lots of stories about him. Lots of stories.
I don't know if I should take it offense. Good show talking about nothing.
We talked. What do you mean nothing? We talked about everything, just nothing specific.
It may not have meant nothing.
Yeah, it didn't amount to a hill of beans,
Hey.
but
Listen, Chris Powell pays us to come on here and just talk about his podcast.
yeah, this was an advert. Let's talk about This show is brought to you by Extreme Performance Podcast.
Hey, careful, we're supposed to be on W Hunting. I think
The Houndsman XP. Use the code Interview Stories and Tales for a 20% discount. Oh, speaking of that, OnX Maps. They do support.
Yeah.
They support me. They and they're a good company, and I use their product all the time. I even used it on my way to Michigan, because you put your phone on airplane mode, but I can still use the OnX Maps, and I always get a window seat, and you can look at your OnX Maps and you can see where you're at. It's pretty cool.
I'm a cheap bastard. I only have Arizona, so I have to call Brett and say, Brett, who owns this land over here in New Mexico?
I was
trying to buy 40 acres.
I got the Elite, where I got all the states. So you just click it on, load those states up. Because I'm always curious when you're flying over, if it's not cloudy, you can see where you're at and everything. And then if you use the code 100 years. Is it 100 years?
100
Yeah,
years.
born 100.
No.
100 years or born
100 years.
You have so many of them, I can't keep up.
100 years. And you'll get a discount. Another company that I am really fond
Flashlight.
of. Jeez. Olight. I mean, I never had it. Honestly, I never had any of those fancy, flashlights. I always had cheap flashlights that I got at Walmart. And you're out of focus, Chris. And Olight sent me an email saying they would send me a flashlight if I would use it in my videos. Sure. They're unbelievable flashlights. I mean, they are unbelievable. And now, this is how good. Now, this is a foreign company. And typically I wouldn't be fond of that. But I lost my headlamp. I'd lost my headlamp. So I just sent them an email. I sent that lady, Louise. It's a lady. I sent her an email saying, hey, what's the chance of me getting a headlamp? She wrote me back right away, said, hey, you're one of our partners. I'll send you one today. And they shipped me out. She asked me, what kind do you want? Do you want this one, or this one? I said, I picked one. I don't know which one.
I think that one's born 100, ain't it?
I think it's born 100. If you use that discount, born 100, you buy a flashlight, buy a headlamp. The headlamp I haven't used yet, but it looks like a nice one. I know it's bright, but
Brett just needs to send me all the stuff so I can make a little advertisement for it.
I'm not good at none of that stuff. I like to just, in my videos, I just kind of, I mean it. And believe me, if it wasn't good, I would not talk about it. I'd just say no.
Look at Missy. I couldn't keep up with the whirlwind topics. We did jump all over the place.
ADD running wild here tonight.
Oh, boy.
Your
dog box. Oh, hey, the dog box. You have a picture of it?
Oh, I do.
Brett, did you ever get your dog box?
Not yet, but I got a picture of it, and it's getting close.
That's been resolved, and it is real pretty. And Brett was very calm about it. I think Tammy kept him in check.
Well,
he restrained himself from being angry.
Look, just check this thing out. Whoop, what happened to it? There it is. Look at that.
Chris, I don't think that she checked him from being angry. I think He just wasn't openly aggressive.
I think that's what it is.
Well, I haven't got the bill for it yet either. So
I'll bet that they loaned it to somebody in Wyoming.
she'll probably sell it. They're probably just waiting till I give them enough advertisement where they can cut the price down a little bit where I won't get all upset about it.
Well, if they'd give you a code.
Oh, I tell you what, though, I've talked to several people, Cody King being one of them, because Cody's just there's no wonder he's such a successful businessman, because he's so level-headed. Just like the Garmin thing. I was all up on the muscle about Garmin not supporting Houndsman, and they wouldn't run an advertisement in full cry or won't support anything that has to do with hounds or lion hunting or bear hunting. And I'm all upset about it, saying, oh, we need to boycott Garmin and everything. Cody said, well, he said, maybe we should just look at it the other way and feel fortunate that they actually make something so good that we can use.
And my guy said, listen, the dog world is a small drop in the bucket for the Garmin.
Exactly.
So are they going to lose $1 million a year or $10 million a year? So
well, what bothers me is why would they lose $10 million a year? That's what's wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, and same thing with the Old South dog boxes. I was kind of upset because it was taking a long time. And Cody just told me, he said, man, he said, it takes a long time. He said, but you're not going to buy a better dog box anywhere. He said, they make the best dog box around. And
they didn't call him back. Trust me, I'm a victim of this.
They didn't call, what are you talking about?
They didn't call you back. Like I didn't call you back and you were upset and I had to hear about it.
I'm still upset.
I had to hear about it. He sat around for 3 days waiting for me to call. He didn't leave that phone once.
Had it right here waiting for it to ring.
He told me listen to a 2-hour podcast and expected me to remember to call him back. I didn't even remember what I was doing when I was listening to the podcast.
Let me tell you something about Cody. Cody is one of the best cat hunters around. It don't matter if it's a bobcat, a jaguar, or a mountain lion. Or what's those other cats they got? Ocelot. Or Jaguarundi. I think he even caught one of those. The only thing he hasn't caught is a lynx. And that's what he wants to do. And
he's going to go do that, right? Or talking about it.
But let me tell you something else that makes him a good cat hunter. Is the guy hunts hard and he doesn't sleep. I don't think he has to sleep.
And he always puts in one more dog.
Always got
one more
extra.
Dog.
I'm sitting up here complaining about not being able to find a lion track, and he's like 2 days away, and he gets a call on a lion track and drives up here 2 hours from my house and catches a lion.
16-hour drive.
16-hour drive. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I don't want to drive for 2 hours to go up there. That's what makes a good cat hunter.
You should have pulled the normal houndsman thing and said, get off my land. This is my state.
What are you doing in my territory? But it wasn't.
Yeah.
I've never even hunted that area, and it's only 2 hours from me. It's supposed to be some of the best lion hunting in New Mexico. But I always feel like I might be bumping into Mike Root because Mike hunts all that country quite a bit. And Mike makes his living with his hounds and his pack mules.
Maybe next week we'll try to get a lot of our guests on. Tim Brink, he's always here. I've had Missy on. Did we have her on?
That's what we need to do. That's a good idea. What we could do is have like an open mic and give everybody like 10 minutes and say, okay, and get a little timer. Boom, bring them on. Have everybody. What are you laughing about, Benny?
He's like, what?
Time's up.
We're not going to talk about ourselves? Start a timer like they do at Game and Fish. Where you get 3 minutes to talk. And then we mute you.
Well, it depends on how many people we have that want to get on. I mean, and then we could have that would be fun.
Well, Tim Brink's a snow hunter, so we could really pick fun of him.
That'd be Benny. That'd be up to Benny. We'll let Benny say, Benny, take care of this guy.
Missy runs beagles, so we can make fun of her.
He's a snow hunter.
And Benny's an undercover guy too, so be careful what you say.
He's one of those kind.
Who else? Who else comes on all the time?
It's gonna.
Calvin's too busy working.
Oh, Cal.
I kept my hat when I'm hunting. No.
Calvin, he's what is he on? The Carnivore. Is it Carnivore TV or something like that?
Oh, yeah, he's too good for us, our puny little
YouTubers.
We'll get Holly on.
What do you just have a different hat for different occasions?
They're all right there.
Oh yeah, my elk. He has different cameras underneath each hat.
It's just, oh, Benny.
Where's
no, but let's talk about that for a minute. Let's discuss that for a minute. That's interesting to me. Like everybody, we could put out a link and bring one person on at a time for 10, 15 minutes, whatever you think. What do you think?
Hey, it's your show. We're just here.
No, I just have the platform. You guys are the show. I just sit here and kind of.
This is what Brett does. What are we doing?
I called Chris. I said, "What's going on Monday night?"
I said today we're just going to talk about other podcasts and make fun of people. And he says, "Good, sounds good."
You already got the first volunteer. Calvin says he'll be available.
All right.
There we go.
We got to have a set.
Calvin.
Okay. So you need to put your email address. We need to have a set of questions for everybody that comes on. That everybody has to answer that question.
Yeah.
We got to come up with the questions. You can submit questions to Brett at Born 100 Years Too Late. Whatever questions you think we should ask. Man, see, I'm getting good at this, Chris.
What about you, Missy? You want to come on talk about rabbit hunting?
We need to put Missy on here. She's probably one of our most faithful listeners.
She's a good guest. She's been on before.
She's been on yours.
I think she's on mine. Yep.
She was on yours. I think I watched part of that.
Yep. I got Jeremy coming on Wednesday from Louisiana Hunting. He's supposed to. He bailed on me kind of last week. Then I got the Wyoming president.
We put him on ours one time, and I couldn't understand a word that guy said.
Maybe he was drunk. Where is he tonight?
I don't know, but I couldn't understand it. I think it's that Louisiana accent.
Isn't it coon hunting season over that way? Don't they get heavy in coon hunting in the summer?
Is there a season for hunting coons?
Well, more active. I don't know. I know. Ed Barnes was whining about the heat. Him and Chris. So I don't know if those guys don't hunt because of it. Do they hunt more in the in the summer? No one likes to hunt in the heat.
Benny does.
Oh, at what point do you give up on a dog? Man, that's a good conversation right there. That's another. Because
I will. Go ahead.
You will not get that off in 10 minutes.
Do what, Benny? Say it again.
You will not get that pulled off in 10 minutes.
No. At what point? I have a strong opinion about that, but I'm not going to tell anybody.
Okay, figure it out on your own, Timothy.
You're on your own. That's your own decision.
I don't know. That right there is a question you can. That would be one of the questions you ask 10 people, 10 houndsmen or whatever, because some people, if they're not hunting by a year, they're gone. Some people I keep them for. There's some guys that you've heard this conversation 100 times about when to cull a dog, when to get rid of a dog, what makes a dog, and how some dogs. They've talked about. Certain breeds of dogs take a little longer to learn plots or whatever between the cur dogs, the plots, the walkers, the running dogs, the treeing dogs. But I don't know if.
Well, I think
go
Go ahead.
how
I'm
long
sorry.
are you able to tolerate it before you say? But you hear all the time too. People say, I made a mistake and I got rid of dogs before I should have."
Well, there's too many variables involved to make that, to say, oh, if they're not doing this by this age, they're no good. You know, there's just too many variables. How much game have you shown them? What kind of conditions are you hunting in?
Yes.
You know, all that stuff comes into play.
Handler.
Now, yeah, how experienced are you at handling the dog? I mean, you know, these dirt dogs, you know, out here where I'm at, you can't show them very many lions. You don't have many lions. You can't just blame the dog for everything. I mean, there's certain faults that I will not tolerate. I mean, and that's, I don't care how old they are. I mean, I just won't put up with it. But I don't.
I think
it's not anything you know, one of my pet peeves, and besides people not calling me back, is people that get, people who get on Facebook or whatever. I've heard this thing, and I think, how stupid to sit there and say, "Oh, I've culled more dogs than parvo." That's stupid. I mean, I've seen that on Facebook. Guys say that, and man, I think it's something that should be done quietly and without bragging and you know, whatever you got to do.
it's a subject. Culling is a subject that needs to be brought up, and it needs to be brought up on why, how, and what you're talking about, because a lot of guys, the reason we're so stuck on, because I just listened to their podcast and they talked about this, is Ed Barnes said the same thing. Like, dogs are all different. They're all different. You know, people are all different. That dog and I've said it before in our podcast 100 times, I've given dogs to people who are taking dogs, and because they wouldn't work for those people, but they'll work for someone else. It's just like a person. You either get along with them or you don't. And it's the same with dogs. And I listened to that Falconry, and they said the same thing. You have to get along with your bird. So I think it all just depends on the person and the dog and what you're willing to put up with. You know, if you're too sensitive and can't get rid of a dog, however you get rid of it, give it to somebody else as a pet. Or,
well, yeah, there's many ways to cull too. I mean, it's not always death. I mean, there's some that have to be put away like that because, you know, you don't want, you know, a mean dog or anything like that to be around. But some go someplace and, you know, have them neutered or spayed, and they make a good pet for somebody. They just don't hunt. They won't. A
couple of weeks ago in Arizona, I had to have this subject breached. There was a couple of young guys there, like 22, 23 years old, and one of them said, "Oh, you know, I'm going to do this and that," and started talking about he had to cull this dog and that dog. And I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." I said, "How old are these dogs?" "Well, you know, well, what are they doing?" And I said, "You guys got to quit getting on social media and thinking that the most important part of being a houndsman is learning how to knock one in the head. Why don't you learn how to do something with the dog and give it a chance? Maybe you're the problem and nobody's talking about culling you." Well, you should have seen those boys' eyes. But that's just my attitude. I think, Brett, that wasn't it Henry that told you they're not doing anything wrong?
Oh, that's how dumb I was. Henry McIntyre was giving me a dog, a White Cloud Walker, and he said, "Why don't you take that dog?" And me, in my ignorance, I looked at him. I said, "Well, what is he doing?" He looked at me. He said, "Well, he ain't doing nothing yet, but he's not doing anything wrong either." And then he wouldn't give me the dog anymore.
It seems to be like a bravado. And a whole lot of people, and the younger people are getting worse at it too. With this, it's like almost like a call to manhood. Well, I just got to kill 8 dogs last year. What the hell for? Why are you doing this?
Well, and then, you know, like I got Fat Lori. You know, she's a worthless hound. I have to pick her up and carry her out of the box and put her on the ground. As far as I'm concerned, she's culled. I spayed her. She's culled. She can't reproduce that. But she don't cause any problems, and she will actually trail a lion now. She didn't start until she was like 5 years old, and she'll trail a lion. And she's not going to go catch you a lion, but she'll bark on a track and kind of help it move along a little bit and make you feel good.
I think that's what separates a houndsman from somebody who just has some dogs. The attitude towards all that. You know, I just gave away a dog, and that dog's 4 years old. But I have alpha dogs. This dog can be an alpha dog, but he can't be an alpha dog in my pack.
There you go.
So I gave him to a 12-year-old girl, and that dog ran. I took him to hound trials, and I said, you know what? You can have. They got rid of their dogs, and I said, you can have this dog. I told him exactly what it does. I said it trees, but it won't do it because I have alpha dogs. That dog needs to be an alpha dog, and you have no other dogs except the puppy. There you go. And that dog, when we was at the hound trials, when I gave it to her, and that dog ran everything and swam, and I mean, it's going to be a different environment. And now he can be the alpha dog, and now he can advance higher than what he's allowed to at my house.
Guys, if we keep going this long, we're going to have to start drinking whiskey and smoking pot like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. I got a first wife, man.
Benny's falling asleep there. Look at it.
That's what he always looks like. What are you talking about?
All right, guys. Thanks for everybody showing up. That was really cool. We had a big crowd tonight. And there's I enjoyed that. I like these kind of would you call this? A raw dog.
No, you can't steal Chris Powell's stuff.
Man.
Come on,
what
man.
do we call it?
You're gonna get an email from Chris on this one. I guarantee. Gotta. And they're probably gonna go on there.
We're gonna get we'll get a copyright strike on the video.
Oh, probably. Listen, Chris, we listen to your podcast. We love them too. Hound Rendezvous, August 24th, Arizona, Young. PickandShovelOutfitters.com. If you have any questions, email Brett or me. What else we got going on?
Nada.
Wednesday night, I'll do another
live. Chris is...
Jeremy is supposed to be on there from Louisiana hunting. Brett is right across the street from his office now. He will probably jump on.
I like to pop on for a little while. If I stayed too late, my second wife would probably become my last wife. I got to spend a little time with her sometimes. But
I did get your email, Timothy. You have my email, and I did show your the National Hound and Tree Dog Association, but you were too busy with your brother eating because we're not important to you. So, I don't know why you couldn't eat in front of the TV with your brother.
Oh, and on this channel, Interview Stories and Tales, I am going to publish here soon the John Klump interview, the video portion of it. And the audio's already been out on the W Hunting Supply podcast, but I'm going to do the video portion. And we have to get a hold of Eric Klein. Eric Klein, we probably should get him to come on next week because those extra Dale Lee tapes or CDs, whatever you want to call them. One of them's coming out this Friday. Never been heard in public before. It's Dale Lee telling a friend stories, and they've never been heard from anyone, and it's pretty cool. It's after Dale Lee's older, and I think there's another one where it's kind of like his farewell. He talks about saying goodbye and that he wasn't going to be hunting. It's kind of it's pretty cool stuff, really. So there you go. There's going to be 3 of them. There's 2 long ones and then a little short clip, a little 3-minute clip of him saying goodbye or whatever. So
we need to get Eric Klein on. And you could play a little 1 or 2 minute clip of some of that stuff. Kind of tease everybody.
I can put something together like that. And if we can get Eric on, Eric's the one who gave me permission to share them. I had them. He sent them to me at one time, and I had them, and I didn't know if he would allow me to to make them public, and he said he would. He said he thought everybody needed to listen to him. And that was the same thing I did. We talked about that, Chris. Is, I purchased all the Dale Lee tapes. I paid good money for them, and then I made them public on this channel for and also through the podcast, so everybody could listen to them for free. I also did the same. I didn't have to pay for the Warriors of El Gato with Bruce Kennedy, but I had to talk to the guy who had the rights to them, and he gave me the permission to publish. And there was a lot of there's a lot of effort that goes into that. So just say thank you.
Minx 95 want to know if I can drive my car down the Rendezvous. Yes, you can get your car down there, and you can throw your bedroll wherever you want. So,
cost you $25 to eat.
Cost you $25 to eat, and you can get on pickandshoveloutfitters.com and reserve your steak. And bring some whiskey.
Out on a ledge. What's that whiskey that Chris Powell's sharing? Let's give him a plug.
It is. It's like out on a ledge or ledged out. I ordered that. I'm waiting on mine to get here. Once it gets here, I can show you. Yeah, it's a Mountain Lion's bourbon, and all the proceeds, some of the proceeds, whatever
goes to the Colorado deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Save the Hunt, Colorado.com. Go donate. Can I get the links to all y'all's pages, please? Yeah, go to YouTube and type in badass mother effers and we'll pop up. Oh, it's worth the shot. Well, this link for sure, and usually it's all, you got Brett, Born 100 Years Too Late. Benny is thelorax.com, and then you got mine, Anecdote of a Houndsman.
Thank you, Holly.
If you go, you'll see that I just subscribed to your channel, so good night from Mountain
Cool,
Time
guys.
Zone.
we're gonna have to call this thing. We're gonna have to call it. Benny's falling asleep. He's starting to snore.
Yeah, that's bad.
Guys, thank you. Till next Monday night.
Next week,
me and Chris and Benny will have a plan for everybody. All right? Sounds groovy.
Alrighty, guys.
Good night.
Adios.